both with the same characters and stuff like that. You're to beat the fastest train in existence, but from there are some nice surprises. So for the core gameplay, we have 2 layers. The first layer is just the basic driving, as we call it. So you have to move with your train through Japan, going as fast as possible and get it to the end station on time. And on top of that, we have all these stylish layers. So you have to make tricks. Some of them are based on extreme sports games like kick flips, wall rides, greens, and all that. And then we have some more unique train tricks such as double drifting, rail switching, also crazy stuff you've seen in the trailer like driving a Ferris wheel. So the reference, of course, in terms of gameplay, there's Tony Hawk, Jet Set Radio. Those are the games that for us define how a trick-based game has to be. It's also Hi-Fi Rush, Persona 5. And outside games, we also took inspiration from anime, of course, manga like Initial D. Yeah, and also even for the music, we think it's something really important, and we are super happy to be working with T. Lopez for that. So the game is basically a single-player experience. I think what we tried with Dense Attack since the beginning is to keep that surprise factor when you first see a train tricking and jumping and doing all this crazy stuff. But we really wanted these surprises to keep coming, so each level has to feel fresh and surprising. So you start with that train doing tricks, but then you get the Ferris wheel, you get the boss fights that you can see in the trailer, and we just want all this adventure to always keep being as fresh as possible. Dense Attack is coming to PS5, Xbox Series, and PC next year, 2026, and if you enjoyed the trailer and the game, please visit it.
Up next, it is time to rock and roll all over the forces and faces of evil, because now it's time for my jam. Coming up next, we're about to take on the forces of the sludge god themselves. Awesome name, by the way, because this is a developer interview with the minds behind John Carpenter's Toxic Commando.
My name is Tim Willits. I am the Chief Creative Officer at Saber Interactive. Toxic Commando is a 4-player co-op game where you are part of a squad and you fight thousands and thousands of infected in this containment zone. We quickly realized that a lot of the ideas and the design was inspired by the iconic movies of Carpenter. So we reached out to him. He was super awesome. He's given feedback on story and plot. We have like cool, kick-ass John Carpenter music. He's led us to this personality and this uniqueness and this flavor and vibe that the game has, from the main menu to story to the action. It has that Carpenter style to it. It was very inspirational. If you are a Carpenter fan, look for things that may represent those movies. When you see things, you're like, oh, that's that movie, or oh, that's that movie. Just keep your eyes open. Before playing Toxic Commando, you gotta watch 4 movies. You gotta watch Escape from New York, The Thing, the original Halloween, and Big Trouble in Little China. You'll get the horror, you'll get the action, and you'll get the over-the-top.
Nobody half-asses it this time. Ruby.
Well. So the first time you play Toxic Commando with your gaming buddies, bring up the menu, look around for some spare parts to arm your turrets and your defenses, and make sure you're geared up before you have to fight thousands of infected. If you've loved playing World War Z and Space Marine 2, along with games like Left 4 Dead and Back 4 Blood, then Toxic Commando is the game for you. John Carpenter's Toxic Commando will launch early 26. It'll be on all your favorite platforms, PC, Xbox, and PlayStation. And we have cross-play, so you can play with your friends on whatever platforms they like.
Thank you very much to the devs over at John Carpenter's Toxic Commando for that interview. Up next, we are speaking to the legendary Suda51 about his upcoming project, Romeo is a Dead Man.
You're gonna die in about 15 seconds!
Seriously?
Seriously, don't worry. I made this just in case. The Dead Gear Life Support System.
I'm Goichi Suda, commonly known as Suda51. I'm the CEO of Grasshopper Manufacturer. On Romeo is a Dead Man, been working as producer and director, scenario writer, and I've also been doing some debugging as well.
From now on, you're Dead Man.
Everybody loves Back to the Future, right? Well, basically what Romeo is a Dead Man is what if in Back to the Future, Marty died at the beginning? What the hell would happen? How would he turn out? What's going to happen to the story, you know? If you want to find out how that would work out, then play Romeo is a Dead Man. What if there was a game where you could time travel to different eras, and there was different zombies, these different time periods, like zombies from 1960s, 1970s, 1980s, and they kind of gradually evolved and have different characteristics and abilities and whatnot. And then I was like, okay, well, what if I just mashed up all these ideas together with Back to the Future and Rick and Morty and time travel and zombies, and yeah, it was pretty difficult to take all these different elements and actually make them fit together. But yeah, we did our best. It's basically sort of a fast-paced action game, like a lot of the games that we've done. And there's a couple things that I'm really looking forward to seeing how players react to. One of them is it's not parry-based combat; it's more dodge-based movement during combat and stuff. I think we did a pretty good job with that. Also, there's, I guess the most understandable way to put it would be basically zombie cultivation. There's not only enemy zombies in the game, they're called rotters, but there's also another type of zombies that are known as bastards, which you grow yourself and in a garden, and they become your pals. And you can sort of equip them and use them as skills, activate them during battle. I think that part in particular, it's something that you're probably not going to find in any other game, and it's pretty interesting and fun to play with, all the different combinations and mechanics. That's something that I'm really looking forward to players check it out and see what they think.
Huh? That was Grandpa's voice. Are you a spirit?
I'm on your back.
What?
So, here at Gamescom, we've been meeting with a lot of people from the media, having them play the demo, doing interviews and stuff like this. So far, the response from people who've played the game has been really good. People saying stuff like, this is the best game at Gamescom right now. This is the #1 title here. May even exist somewhere, as far as I know. But I think it's doing pretty good. Once you start reading the articles and watching the videos that are going to be coming out of this trip here to Gamescom, you'll get a pretty good idea of what kind of game it is, what to expect. So yeah, look forward to it. It's going to be an awesome game. So Romeo is a Dead Man will be coming out next year, probably. And it'll be coming out on PlayStation, Xbox, Steam. We're hoping to get it on Switch too. It's not definite yet. We're still working on it. But yeah, also we're not sure if it's going to be coming out before GTA 6 or after GTA 6, or we might just go all in and release it on the same day. We're not sure yet.
Thank you very much to Suda51 for that amazing developer interview. Up next, we're off to the world of Dying Light the Beast, where we also spoke to the devs about what makes this latest installment so utterly chaotic.
I'm Nathan Lemaire. I'm the game director for Dying Light the Beast. In Dying Light the Beast, we are playing as Kyle Crane, the returning hero from the first Dying Light. He was actually being held captive for 13 years, and he was being experimented on. So when he escapes, basically he's just seeking revenge against the people that are actually used him as a test subject. What was important for us at the beginning for Dying Light the Beast is that we took the best from Dying Light 1, the best from Dying Light 2, and we put it together to create this kind of best experience possible. So you will get back with a parkour that is more grounded, more physical, more closer to Dying Light 1 feeling. Same is for like the physicality and the hit reaction on zombies. Like we wanted to make a step forward and to make sure that hitting zombies just feels fun and, you know, kinda diverse. Like there is no situation that is the same. It's always like kinda renewing itself because of the physics and the ragdolls and so on. There is also the fact that we wanted to create new settings. With Castor Woods, we have created this unique kind of touristic station located in the Swiss Alps. It's a beautiful zombie apocalypse, I can say, because this is where people would go to vacations before the fall happened. A very good setting as well because it's very diverse, I would say. You have like you have a city, you have industrial park, and some other biomes that make the game always kind of renewing itself. I'm super excited for people to test our new weapons, such as the flamethrower or saw blade launcher. We did put a lot of effort into making this game very satisfying, visually satisfying zombie game and slashing zombie apocalypse. The Beast mode is one of our, new feature. Like it features a complete new skill tree, and it's really an ability that grows over time with Kyle. It's also a central part of the story itself. And with the Beast mode, we wanted to have like this kind of very like unleashing power, where suddenly you are not a prey at all. Like you are an ultimate predator. Like you can basically smash zombies, tear them apart completely, use your ability to jump higher, run faster, and it's like really the ultimate kind of ability for Kyle Crane. So Dying Light the Beast is coming out September 19th on PS5, Xbox One X, and PC.
And there we have it, my friends. That was the Future Games Show Best of Gamescom. Hope you enjoyed it.
We'd like to take a moment to formally apologise to your wallet, but to be fair, it's not our fault all those games look so good.
No, absolutely, don't come for us. If you want to wishlist any of the games in this show, or any of our shows, go to the Future Games Show Steam page.
But until then, take care of yourselves, and we'll see you soon. Bye!
Can I go play Lego Batman then?
Yeah, go on then. Go on, off you go.
Be safe, be nice to the other kids.
He slipped. Oh, he's crying.
Oh, God's sakes, you got plaster.
Go on, let's go help him.
On Earth. To break down all the biggest Xbox game reveals here at the show, let's check in with the Outside Xbox podcast for a very special episode coming up right now.
Hello and welcome back to Gamescom 2025. I'm Jane Douglas from Outside Xbox. This is Mike Channel from Outside Xbox.
Hi.
And this is Ellen Rose from Outside Xbox.
Hello.
While everyone was looking the other way, we got ourselves into the stage,
We've
and
stuck
now it's ours.
Don't tell them.
I'm never leaving. This sofa's too comfy.
Yeah.
And we're going to be talking about the very best of what's here at Gamescom 2025. But first of all, a little shout out to our good friend and colleague Andy Farrant, who couldn't be here.
Yes.
Hi, Andy.
He's holding down the fort back home. No one's getting in that fort.
No.
Protect the fort, Andy. Thank you. Right, how is your Gamescom going?
Amazing, yeah. Real sensory overload. I think it's sort of fair to say that Gamescom's like truly back this year.
Yeah, I think so.
I know a lot of people who went last year and had a really good time and saw lots of stuff, but I feel like it's just another level this year. So many games, so many people, so many familiar faces for us, as people who've been around the block a few times. But
Hey.
I certainly have at least. I won't speak for anyone else. But yeah, it's an amazing show, and yeah, it really feels like the full force of the industry is behind it now.
Yeah.
Having a good time?
Yeah, the vibes are back. It's nice seeing everyone getting excited and just seeing all the games, all the booths, and just being like, oh yeah, cool, things to look forward to. And yeah.
For someone who's not been to Gamescom, just to set the scene, how would you describe the show?
I would describe it as sensory overload.
Yes, you did
but
do that.
video game flavored sensory overload. So there's some amazing booths. You go over to the Netflix booth and they've built an entire like One Piece pirate ship. There's themed stuff for all these games. This sort of as a public show, rather than just a press-focused thing, it's sort of thematic and experiential in a way that I think you have to kind of come and experience. Just the sheer scale of it, if you're into Borderlands, there's an enormous sort of Borderlands logo that you can pose in. There's all these different there's a Silent Hill F sort of experiential thing going on.
Just over there.
Yeah.
I'm too scared.
I'm way too
It's
scared.
boxed in. We don't know what's going on in there.
What could they possibly be doing to
Some
people
kind
in
of
there?
scare ride.
We have no idea.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think, certainly in Europe, there's nothing like it. And I know Gamescom is sort of expanding around the globe as well, to places like Thailand and things like that.
Yeah.
So, but it just if you're a fan of games and you want to celebrate your hobby, I think it's an astonishing place to be.
Not games, but at the Netflix booth where they've got the One Piece ship that you mentioned, where the ocean's made out of Lego because it's
yes,
right
because
next
there's a
to
Lego
the
One Piece game, which is
also.
incredible. Yeah.
But they had a Wednesday claw machine.
Yes.
And I love a claw machine.
Given the opportunity, you'd spend the entirety of Gamescom
That's
probably
my
there
video
trying to.
game. But anyway, Andy also loves Wednesday, so we were
trying to win him, mate.
thinking.
But claw machines have other ideas.
Yeah, we didn't win it. We didn't win a single thing.
3 goes, nothing.
All right, now on to the actual games.
Yes.
Mike.
Let me tell you about Project Spectrum, right? So this was, I think it's fair to say, one of the big surprises of the ONL show, Opening Night Live. We hadn't heard anything about it previously. It is a horror tactical shooter with asymmetrical multiplayer elements. So it's built by Team Jade, who are a Chinese development team. It's sort of published by Tencent, but I think as sort of debuts go, it was a super memorable, super glossy, super atmospheric kind of horror shooter. So modern kind of combat weapons, like you'd expect from a Call of Duty or similar, but with kind of horrifying enemies and set in this big sort of atmospheric haunted house mansion in the rain. I think it made a big impression, and I actually, as a bit of behind the scenes, the people looking after that from a PR perspective got in touch about a week ago and said, hey, you should really come and look at this. And it feels like the sort of best kept secret on the show floor. One of the things I love about these kind of shows when you meet sort of friends and colleagues within the industry is where you have this sort of industry scuttlebutt where people are like, have you seen this game? It's super exciting. And I think you can see it on the screen here, this sort of almost like Alan Wake, Silent Hill, sort of misty forest. What it reminds me of is games like Fear. Do you remember Fear as a sort of horror tactical shooter, but crossed with kind of Rainbow Six Siege style action? So yeah, hugely impressive debut at ONL, bit of buzz around it, and we've actually seen it being played live in front of us. So we haven't had hands-on, but we have seen the developers themselves playing a sort of true asymmetric multiplayer match. So what you can see here is this sort of these kind of PvE elements, so these apparitions and things like that. So there is a very strong PvE element, but there's also this creature called the Executioner, which I'm sure you'll see later on, which is this sort of... Have you seen the game Carrion with its kind of weird motion
and a little bit like the Mimics and Prey as well?
It's got that sort of vibe. So there is a player playing as that Executioner creature and stalking you around the thing. But as you can see, I mean, like...
Oh, hello.
This is spooky enough.
We've got mannequins.
It's not a horror game until there's a mannequin.
Things falling off the wall. So like these little scripted sequences and stuff. One of the things I think is quite cool is it has a sort of a meter measuring your kind of mental well-being and mental state. And there are a lot of games that kind of do that, and it's almost always just a negative thing when your quote-unquote sanity level drops below a certain threshold. But what the developers were telling us when we went to see the game was that actually, in certain circumstances, this sanity system can actually work in your favor. So there are certain characters and classes where having a lower level of sanity will actually make you more effective in combat. So it's a really interesting balance. It's like, how do you want to play it? Do you want to play as one of those people who stays super safe and tries to maintain their sort of, their fear level?
Okay.
Or do you want to sail close to the wind and really allow it to drop? The problem is as you allow that level to drop, you will be attacked by sort of apparitions. I mean, this stuff's scary enough already.
Example.
Yeah.
But these sort of shadowy figures will appear in this real sort of sleep paralysis apparition.
Yeah, that was
vibe.
the exact vibe,
And they will attack you. They can physically attack you. But what they were saying was that there might be things like shortcuts in the environment that you can't see when your mental level is kind of hunky-dory. But as you descend more into the kind of madness of what's going on, shortcuts may open themselves up to you and things like that. So I just thought the environments were super slick. The enemy design looks really, really creepy. And obviously the asymmetric stuff, which we'll see shortly, is super appealing as well. Obviously it's got that kind of like co-op shooter vibe. Again, very inspired by things like Rainbow Six Siege, but also the novel Solaris apparently was a big inspiration for that kind of psychological horror, according to the developers of the game.
It's a highfalutin reference.
Yeah, well, I like it, and I think culturally, there's been a big divide, I think, in video games, like West and East divide in terms of developers and things. But obviously, we're seeing a lot more games coming from the West. Black Myth, Wukong,
from
obviously,
the East.
Yeah, exactly. Sorry, from the East to the West.
Yeah.
And so they don't necessarily have the same influences. What we can see here is the Executioner character. It's a real sort of Lovecraftian horror monster. What you'll have noticed in this gameplay is how powerful and fast this creature is, and I did ask them about how it was going to play, because it seemed like this thing was massively overpowered. And what they were saying was, actually, to a degree, there's a kind of loadout system with that creature, so you'll build it the way you want to play it as well. But what they were showing us was it in one of its fastest and most aggressive forms, but there are other forms of that will be kind of stealthier and more about stalking the other player characters. So there's going to be variety there. I did ask them if they were ever planning on adding, because that's quite a distinctive character design in terms of the tentacles and things. I did ask them if they were considering other sort of horror-inspired designs, and they said nothing planned yet, but it's obviously something they've thought about as well.
And on the campaign side, did they speak on that?
So what they said was that there are sort of two. You're actually not just playing a single character. You're playing what they described as an operator. So it was difficult to get full details because they didn't want to talk a lot about that stuff. I guess it's still in development. But what it reminded me of was XCOM. That idea that you recruit your troops and you select which ones you think will operate best in battle, and then you send those agents out. So it's operator is the kind of overarching mode, and agents are the characters that are out in the field. And so you'll be recruiting them. I assume there'll be a sort of budget that needs to be sort of balanced, and you'll send them out into what they describe as these ember zones. So it's this anomalous event has happened, and these areas have become sort of off limits to the general public, and you're sending it. It's sort of like Ghostbusters with M16s, basically. And so yeah, you will be playing not just the on the ground stuff, but you will be also, dictating how, as a sort of organization, this stuff is handled. So interesting take on it, definitely. Other stuff they mentioned was there's a crafting system, a kind of quick crafting system. So you'll have seen in the gameplay demo, at one point the character pulls a rag out of a Molotov and wraps it around a shovel to create a sort of flaming shovel.
Okay.
So they want to have that kind of inventive crafting thing, but it's got to be something that you can do on the fly in the middle of a terrifying firefight when you're scared out of your mind.
When you're teetering on the brink of the edge of insanity.
Yes.
All right, one to watch. Any word on a release date on that one?
No, we asked about that. They said there's still lots of work to do. This is obviously like a sort of what they describe as a vertical slice, so a kind of flavor of what the game will be like. But obviously we were very impressed by how polished it was.
Yeah.
But they said they've got a lot of work to do. They're desperate to get it into the hands of players, and I think they've been really heartened by the response to it at ONL as a sort of debut of their game. So they're very excited, but I think it's a little ways out, but what a strong showing.
And that was Project Spectrum.
That was Project Spectrum.
Okay, now next on the agenda here at Gamescom 2025, the three of us, we nipped over and played some of the Xbox handhelds.
Yes.
The ROG Xbox Ally X and
Correct.
the ROG Xbox Ally
Not
No
X.
Xless.
Yes.
All right.
Xless sounds so weird, but yeah, okay.
All right, we're not calling it that. Microsoft's not calling it that. Actually, just before we sat down just recently, actually, Microsoft confirmed the date.
Yes.
So that's October the 16th for the release date on
Very
both
exciting.
of those. Yet to confirm the pricing, although the scuttlebutt is $900
The rumor is that, yes.
for the fancy one.
Yes.
And $550 for $550 $60 for the slightly less fancy one, which
Yeah.
is chonky.
But reflective of the performance of these devices, right? I think perhaps if you're used to your handhelds being, Nintendo Switch or maybe even Steam Deck, these are, lower priced handhelds, but there are these kind of super powerful PC-based handhelds that have existed, like the original ROG Ally, and these are phenomenally performant bits of kit, essentially. And so the Ally X in particular, I think is going to be, I think we were saying it's about the price of 2 Nintendo Switch 2s.
Right.
But having played it, I was quite impressed by what we played. I played a bit of Forza Horizon 5 on there. It was buttery smooth, looked really, really nice on that screen.
It did, yeah.
And so you're really paying for, I think, current gen games to be played in a handheld form factor, which, in terms of the generations of video games before this, that has not been something that's been possible, right?
Alan, you were playing Liza P.
Yeah.
On the Xbox, the X one, the fancy one.
The fancy one, yeah.
Okay, the black one.
Yeah.
How did you find it?
It looked so crisp. It looked like, because part of that game's, the wonderful thing about that game is just like the art style and how pretty it looks. And it did look pretty on that screen. And it played well. Like, it's so important to, it's all about timing, those kind of Souls-like games. And I felt like it was very responsive, and yeah, it just, like, his hair, his hair never looked so good.
His Chalamet hair.
His Chalamet hair.
Yeah.
On point, okay. And form factor-wise, it was roughly as tall as Mike's
My head,
is.
maybe a little taller.
So it's large. It's large and
Yeah.
in charge. And what do you make of the weight?
It was way lighter than I was expecting. Now, obviously there's a difference between playing something for 5 minutes and how heavy it feels then versus playing for an hour.
Playing on your back with like it.
Exactly, yeah. And not dropping on your
falling
face.
on your face.
I was surprised when you looked at it. It's obviously like physically quite large compared to, say, a Switch 2. But in terms of weight, I was surprised by how lightweight it was, actually. I think it was going to be more comfortable for long gaming sessions than perhaps I anticipated. The ergonomics of it feel pretty good. I think the only thing I would say from my perspective is that the triggers are super comfortable because they're extremely large triggers. So they're really comfortable. Your finger kind of sits on them quite comfortably. But I would say it's a little bit of a reach to the shoulder buttons. On an Xbox controller, you can actually hit the shoulder buttons just by leaning, like almost rolling your finger onto them. You can't really do that on the ROG Ally. So that's the only ergonomic note. It's not really a problem per se, but it is something to bear in mind. But it's got those big wings, so I think a lot of people find the Switch 2 too slim, and indeed the Switch 1 as well. And it gives them that kind of like gamer's claw sort of like hand cramp. I think the sort of curved wings, which include rumble as well, I think will make it quite a comfortable thing to play.
I hadn't clocked the light up rings around the thumbstick with the various colours, and you reckon they're going to be customizable?
I think based on gaming laptops and
you would expect
things like that, you'll be able to go into, there'll be an ROG toolbox of some sort where you can go in and customize those. If you have a particular shade or aesthetic you're going for, it's sort of the one thing that kind of reminds you that this is actually like a PC product first and foremost. And actually, the games we were playing were not playing in a kind of Xbox compatibility mode. What we were playing were the PC versions of those games. And that is, I guess, that's a point of contention or something that needs to be cleared up, is how Xbox native games play and perform on this piece of hardware. Now, obviously, if the PC version runs brilliantly, you can assume it's got the grunt and the sort of power to play these games effectively. But it's all about how that translation layer, the key appeal of this is something that will play your Xbox games, not just PC games, on the go.
All right.
And we're yet to see that.
We are yet to see that. Right, that's the ROG Xbox
Ally
X, or without the X,
not X,
here at Gamescom. And now we're going to take just a moment to kick back and enjoy the sumptuous premium sofas here on the stage. We'll be right back after the break, and we're going to talk about Kirby Air Riders, outside Xbox's 13th birthday, and a whole bunch more from Gamescom 2025. We're not going away, so don't you go away either.
Hey you! Looking for a way to wear your fandom with pride? The IGN store is the ultimate destination for awesome merch and collectibles from the biggest games, movies, shows, and everything in between. Cruise the wasteland in style with a Vault Dweller hoodie and replica Pip-Boy. Kick back and relax to some of the best game soundtracks ever pressed on limited edition vinyl. Or level up your whole wardrobe with a massive selection of officially licensed apparel. From iconic properties like Star Wars and The Legend of Zelda to newer fan favorites like Atomfall and Expedition 33, the IGN store has you covered. You'll also find hats, jewelry, action figures, board games, model kits, art books, and even snacks. Whatever you're into, you're bound to find something. See for yourself and head to store.ign.com today.
Catch up on all your favorite shows with up-to-the-minute gaming and entertainment news with Geek Media Podcasts.
Welcome to a very special episode of IGN GameScoop.
GameScoop has you covered for all things gaming and the latest game releases. Tune into Podcast Beyond for the biggest PlayStation news.
Man, this is a cool looking trailer.
Everything Xbox on Podcasts Unlocked.
This is Steve Downs, the voice of Master Chief.
Catch up with your Super Nintendos on Nintendo Voice Chat.
Switch to pre-order Mania. It was chaotic last night.
And get all the latest console news and rumors with Next Gen Console Watch.
Now Xbox and Phil Spencer are even saying that a mid-gen refresh isn't even necessary.
The Cinefix Top 100 podcast picks a movie every week to celebrate and debate.
It's kind of every movie's grandpa.
Geek Media Podcasts, the best podcasts from around the world.
The Cinefix Top 100. A list so secretive even we don't know what movies are on it or where they rank.
What do you mean you don't know?
Each episode will reveal one of the movies.
Did I rush it? Felt like I rushed. That was good. I liked it.
Talk about why it belongs and finally find out where it ranks.
Are you not entertained?
Are any of the movies we've shown here even on the list? I have no idea, and it drives me crazy. Join us as we find out on Cinefix, IGN, and wherever you get your podcasts.
Why so serious?
Welcome back to the stage. Here at Gamescom 2025, we're having a lovely time here up on the stage in IGN's glass box of gaming wonders. Thanks for having us, IGN. Now, Gamescom, Mike,
yes.
Just before we proceed, is it's a special occasion for Outside Xbox as
Always.
a YouTube channel, is it not?
Yep.
It is an anniversary because Outside Xbox was founded,
yes,
was begun, was birthed.
Yeah.
Here at a Gamescom, correct?
Yes. Yeah, so I moved from Official Xbox Magazine. My final day was the day before Gamescom, and my first day on Outside Xbox was the first day of Gamescom. So literally launched directly into it.
Flew straight to Cologne.
Yeah, genuinely flew straight, went from my leaving do straight to the airport to Cologne. So that was my that's my supervillain origin story.
Yeah, but to Andy, who again, missing Andy.
Yeah.
He'd been kind of like setting things up for
Yeah, he'd been working away for a couple of weeks on getting everything set up.
Yeah.
But yeah, so Gamescom was very special for us, and it's really nice to be back actually, because yeah, that was our first sort of wide-eyed launch, and it was really nice as a new channel to be able to meet a bunch of different developers and see a bunch of games, and then have a bunch of content to really start strong. And so a show like Gamescom was the perfect place for that.
All right, happy birthday, Outside Xbox.
Happy birthday.
Right, now back to the games.
Yes.
Okay. Ellen, you've played Kirby Air Riders. You watched the 45 minutes Nintendo Direct on Kirby Air Riders. What can you tell us about Kirby Air Riders?
Oh my goodness. Okay, so I got a hands-on with Kirby Air Riders, and the one word that I would use to sum it up is chaos.
Okay.
Is chaotic, but in the best way. So for people who haven't played the series, and I found the Direct extremely useful because it told me how to play the game. They were like, it's basically Mario Kart, but also it's not Mario Kart. Don't play it like Mario Kart, otherwise you will crash all the time.
Direct quote from the Nintendo Direct.
Yeah.
Basically Mario Kart.
Is that strong? Yeah, everyone do that.
Fair.
So yeah, and so we're seeing some footage here. So basically, the only control you need to worry about is going left and right. Don't push forward because you will steer yourself down into the ground. And then you use the B button to basically kind of drift in and then push hard out of corners.
Okay.
And it's all about building up your speed boosts. And then here as well, you're collecting various weapons and power-ups and stuff that you can use around the course. And so what's exciting as well for people who played the original game is there's a ton of new Kirby characters in there. Because previously it was like basically Kirby and like one other.
Like this guy with the super spicy.
Yeah, it was super spicy. He's just like throwing food at people and making things explode. I mean, brilliant. And little mushrooms, like got extra protection with that, and it's great. You just everything is absolute chaos. And so I wish so. My little hands-on. We didn't do much of the actual racing. So there's like another mode within the air riders, but you've got like a city that you sit in, you go around and you collect. There's like a round where you just go hog wild and collect as many power-ups as you possibly can, and then you're thrown into a mini game. And depending on all the power-ups that you've picked up, that is what sort of determines what mini game that you would be best at. And so like you get to like 4 things that you can choose, and it's like, oh, should you go for this one because you're more powerful, like go for one where you can like really like beat everyone up, or hey, you've got more flying skills, do a flying thing. So like, and I did that, and it's the round before. So here we go. Yeah, the urban district here. You're riding around and you're just smashing things up, collecting all these power-ups, and it's absolute chaos. It's absolute chaos.
How many people were you playing with?
So I had 4 other journalists like playing with us, and then a bunch of CPU characters. Okay. And also, as you're gathering up all of these power-ups, you can just absolutely rinse each other out, like blowing things up. There was a thing that I kept picking up the spike ball, and you throw a spike ball, and it just like you can smash other players to bits with it. There's all these power-ups and everything. You're trying to prevent other people from picking up all of these power-ups so that you can have the edge when it comes to the next round of the minigame. But like playing it, I really felt like so yeah, this is the melee version, and this feels like a game that is easy to learn but hard to master, because I was like, you know, they're oh, it's only one button. It's only one button, and then you go left and right. It's fine. And I was just like, I think I'm doing this right. I was just like going into walls, and then I came out of it like, oh, I won. Great.
You won.
Oh my god.
Right,
I
well,
won
you were
one of the
doing it right
things.
then.
Yeah, like one of them, I got like the most like power-ups at the end of it, and I was just like, I was just going for it. But I improved. My first one, I only got 25 power-ups. Second one, I got like 79 power-ups. So I like worked out. I'd broken the system. But I think, yeah, Kirby Air Riders, like fans of the original game, are going to be extremely happy with this, because this is just like layers upon layers more than the previous game, especially with all these extra bits. And it's like the gourmet race.
Tell me about the gourmet race.
Just I didn't get a hand on it, but my favorite thing is like you've got these wonderful like photorealistic things that you can pick up as you're driving around anyway. Yeah, like video
like
game
very
food
hungry caterpillar.
Yeah,
video game.
because like even when you're not playing the gourmet race, like you can just like pick up apples as you're going around, and they help you with your health and stuff. But it's all about just trying to just get as many power-ups as possible and trying not to like explode
now,
immediately.
Mike, why does Kirby need an air vehicle when he could eat an air vehicle?
Yeah, he could eat an air vehicle,
well,
possess an air vehicle,
you can eat
opponents.
You can eat opponents and enemies around to get power-ups. So I like powered up as Link, and I went around with my little master sword being whoosh, whoosh, whoosh. Or you can like get other enemies around, and like if they don't have like a particular power that you can use, you just immediately shoot a star out. And like when you're attacking other players as you're driving around, it doesn't slow them down. So I was getting hit, not getting slowed down, but what it does is give you a boost. So it's sort of different to Mario Kart. Mario Kart, you're trying to slow everyone down so you can just get past the other slower people. This one, every attack is just a boost for yourself.
I think
which
the most
is different, yeah.
The most unsettling thing is that now we know that actual food exists in the universe of Kirby, and yet he still chooses to eat people, objects, such as his deviants.
Predilection.
Yeah, exactly.
The thing is, a lot of the other. So, like, even though, like, they said in the direct, they didn't want to make Kirby this super overpowered character because, like, he can absorb other people. So, other people can like capture and get powers other ways. So there are a couple of them that can, like there's one with a big long tongue that It's just
I should be playing as the one who throws curries around the place.
Yes.
That looks amazing.
Super spicy cooking mode.
Super spicy.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not your customary, like, ultra-realistic,
No.
physics-based racing game, right? But you're interested.
Yeah, definitely. It's I think in a way the whole it's basically Mario Kart is almost self-deprecating. I think it's doing it in service because
yeah.
that footage looks crazy. The chaotic nature, like you say, the mini games. I think it's good that they showed this mode here at Gamescom, because I think if they had shown just the kind of racing stuff, I think people so soon after Mario Kart would have been a bit like, is this really the next game that we're supposed to be excited about? Whereas this battle mode is clearly going to be a sort of great online multiplayer party game thing.
Okay, so another one to watch here at Gamescom 2025. That's Kirby Air Riders. Now, Mike.
Yes.
What else have you seen? I know you've seen like a handful of interesting curators here
so
on the show floor.
the joy of a place like Gamescom is that you can just wander around and there's all these different booths. Like every game you could possibly imagine is here, is represented in some regard. So I went and checked out a few of my own sort of little interests. I played a bit of Project Motor Racing.
Mike's little interest.
Yeah, Mike's little interest, which is racing cars and old arcade games.
Welcome to the Mike's little interest portion of the show.
So essentially, I played a bit of Project Motor Racing. It's by the guys who made Project Cars back in the day. This is their new sort of...
A lot of projects here at Gamescom.
Yeah, they love a project. So you can see some footage here. They've announced Porsche are in the game. They've announced weather, time of day. Look at those puddles. Beautiful. What I think is really interesting about this game, and that might have an effect on other games on console, is the addition of mods, so on-console mods. So what they're saying is that modders are going to be able to make cars, even licensed cars, and submit them to their UGC, their user-generated content portal. What they will do is talk with the manufacturers of those cars, approve the kind of handling of them, make sure they're of good quality, and place them on console as free DLC, essentially made by modders. And I was asking them about this. I was saying, well, this is going to cost you a lot of money because licensees want to get paid, right? And they were saying, we're going to run it as a loss leader. So essentially, they're going to pay the licensing fees. But in a way, if you think about it, a game like Gran Turismo, which has car updates to keep the game fresh, they have to develop those cars. The way this works is the community develops the cars, they approve them, they talk to the manufacturers, check that the manufacturers are happy, and check that the handling works, and then it's released to the game as a free DLC. So I thought it was a really interesting take, and they're doing it as a loss leader, but actually will keep this game fresh and allow them to have high quality content sort of crowdsourced by the community. So I thought that was really interesting, because typically, you know, mods for racing games are a real nightmare, because if someone makes a modded Porsche are going to get upset about it if they're not getting paid. I thought this was a really interesting solution to that problem, and something that could be applied to, I don't know, other sports games or other games where modded content might cross over with licensed, copyrighted stuff. So you imagine a game that, you know, is an action game and people want to put a character from a TV show in. Imagine if the developers could go to that TV show and license that character. So I thought that was really interesting.
Imagine the negotiations.
Well, this is it, and I am glad it's not my job. And we met the person whose job it is, and he, you know, fair play to him. He seems confident he can make this work.
Okay.
But I love the ambition.
very nice.
I thought it was a really interesting take for a smaller team, for a smaller development team that can't necessarily fill the game with licensed cars. This is a great solution. And you know, modding teams and modding in racing sims has been around since the year dot. So there'll be a community that I'm sure is ready to embrace that technology.
Interesting.
The other thing I saw was a sort of under the TV plug and play light gun solution. Now, you remember arcade light guns? You know, Point Blank, Time Crisis, House of the Dead, that sort of thing.
Yeah, you're taking us back.
Yeah, right. Well, the problem is that they only ever really worked with CRT television, so old cathode ray tubes. What this device called Game, it's really awkward. It's called Game, but instead of AME, it's AIME.
Ungoogleable.
Utterly ungoogleable.
Okay.
It's just going to correct your spelling.
Okay.
But it's a great bit of kit. The idea is that it's plug and play. It uses AI, because it doesn't everything these days.
Oh, is that why it's GAIM?
Yeah, well, no, it's
because you're aiming.
like you're aiming a gun.
Oh.
But I guess also that.
But also,
maybe.
okay.
It could be like a 3-layer pun going on here.
No.
But the idea is that it works with your flat screen TV. It uses AI and it can kind of detect what's going on. So we had a bit of a play with that.
Okay.
It's plug and play. You just plug the guns in, plug in the HDMI and the power, and it will play classic Namco shooting games, including Time Crisis, Point Blank, which is my favorite shooting game of all time. It is the greatest. And also a couple of Steel Gunner games as well.
Yeah.
So,
On your massive television.
yeah, on a
Not
massive television.
specific massive television.
Yeah, or any
a
size
massive
television. They've sort of
Okay.
been training the AI with different living room environments and different screens and things to make sure it works. But it's great. I would say it's not quite as responsive as the original arcade things. There's a little bit of, as you drag the gun across, there's a little bit of drag there, but it's totally playable. And there's a version that comes with 2 guns, so you can play Point Blank 2-player. I just think as a sort of Christmas, it's coming out before Christmas, thing to sort of chuck on the TV for a party game. It's really nice to see light gun games coming back.
Okay, now we're running low on time.
Yes.
So I'm going to have to press you. What's your MVG? What's your most valuable game of the show, including, if you can cast your mind all the way back to opening night live? Highlights, please. I'm going to go to you, Mike, first.
I'm super excited about Resi Requiem. I think that's looking really, really sharp. I think having been in the crowd back at ONL, that absolutely got the biggest pop of the night. I think people were so hyped for it. Those guys don't miss anymore, you know. So yeah, super excited for that. Can't wait to play it.
All right, what about you, Ellen?
I'm gonna have to be that person and say Silk Song. Like, just I've
Not just that person. There's a lot of people who would say that.
Yeah,
there's a lot of
yeah. Nintendo.
I just and like the thing is, like, I've got my Switch with me. I just want to be like, Nintendo, like, can I just have a copy and take it home now? Yeah, like, I loved Hollow Knight. It's brilliant Metroidvania game. If you've not played it, go play it. And yeah, I'm very excited for this new one. I think it'll be. Loads of people have been excited. It's basically, we were talking about this, it's turned into a meme more than a game at this point. As like, even before opening night live, they were like, oh, there's a bit in this where everyone talks about Silk Song and then it doesn't show up. But no, it was there. And we were like, great. So yeah, I think that's the one that a lot of people are very excited about at Gamescom, including
What's caught your eye?
Well, Resident Evil Requiem, of course, and actually they've built a Raccoon City like police facade, police department facade over at the Capcom booth. So very excited for that, and obviously Fallout Season 2, not a game,
Yes.
a game adjacent opening night live.
It looks so good.
That looked wicked, and we've seen some other stuff that we can't talk about yet. But it's also extremely
What a great reason to stay tuned to Outside Xbox and Outside Extra.
Yeah.
It's almost like we planned it.
There you have it, folks. It's about time for us to wrap things up. Here in the fish tank, I've been Jane, he's been Mike, she's been Ellen, and we've been Outside Xbox and also Outside Extra. Keep on watching for even more of the good stuff here at Gamescom 2025.
IGN Plus is where your adventure begins.
What are you selling?
Plus is the place to get unlimited access to all the tools you need to beat your games.
Here's what you need to know for bringing down Gloomspawn.
Plus, awesome exclusive discounts on IGN Store.
Maybe this would tease open your money pouch.
Plus, ad-free browsing on IGN.com. Plus, unlimited game help tools like premium interactive maps with your own custom map markers, filters, marker notes, and more.
This will come in handy.
Plus, access to sweepstakes, giveaways, and free game keys.
Wow. Exactly.
Want more? Head to IGN.com/plus and start your adventure today.
Hey you! Looking for a way to wear your fandom with pride? The IGN store is the ultimate destination for awesome merch and collectibles from the biggest games, movies, shows, and everything in between. Cruise the wasteland in style with a Vault Dweller hoodie and replica Pip-Boy. Kick back and relax to some of the best game soundtracks ever pressed on limited edition vinyl. Or level up your whole wardrobe with a massive selection of officially licensed apparel. From iconic properties like Star Wars and The Legend of Zelda to newer fan favorites like Atomfall and Expedition 33, the IGN store has you covered. Whatever you're into, you're bound to find something. See for yourself and head to store.ign.com today.
Oh, hi. You're watching Gamescom Studio on IGN. Nintendo has a huge presence here on the Gamescom show floor, so who better to break down all the biggest games and reveals but the cast of IGN's weekly Nintendo podcast, Nintendo Voice Chat. That's coming up in just a sec. After that, Max has a look at what's coming out next month besides Hollow Knight Silksong in September's biggest game releases. After that, an all-new episode of Next Gen Console Watch, IGN's weekly show that breaks down console tech, news, and more. Stick around because more Gamescom Studio on IGN is coming up right after this. Hello and welcome to a very special Gamescom 2025 episode of Nintendo Voice Chat, live from beautiful Cologne, Germany, a city known for giving the world delicious beer, breathtaking views of the Dom Cathedral, and a guy named Per Schneider. I'm your host, Brian Altano, joined by my Super Nintendos, Jada Griffin, and the aforementioned Per Schneider. Welcome.
Hey, I was born right here, actually, under the studio. It was back, no.
Is that the smell?
I thought, yes.
I thought he was going to say on this couch.
I'm very sorry.
I'm glad we both went to the same place. Nintendo had a pretty massive presence here at Gamescom. One of the biggest booths I've ever seen them do. They had this gigantic stage where people could compete in Mario Kart. They had, for the first days we were here, covered in tarps, one section specifically, and we were like, what is it? What could it be? And then they announced we're doing a direct for Kirby Air Riders. Wasn't the only surprise at the show. They also, Hollow Knight was playable at their booth for the first time. So before we get into impressions on Hollow Knight, Pokemon, Kirby, Elden Ring, all the other stuff we played, I wanted to talk real quick about Nintendo's presence here at Gamescom, because this was the first show that I've been to where the Switch 2 is out in the wild. It's not a secret. It's not a rumor. It's not a 3D printed thing that some third-party company has off to the side. The Switch 2 is out. But you wouldn't really know it if you went to anybody else's booth but Nintendo's.
I think that's the effect of, Nintendo playing the hardware specs and the actual development hardware really close to their chest before release, right? They obviously, CD Projekt Red got early hardware to work on their Cyberpunk port, but I think a lot of studios did not participate that early, and you're sort of seeing the results of it. And then the ones that the bigger companies were all playing it safe and developing ports, right?
Yeah.
And so what happens is you're not going to go to a Ubisoft booth and see the Switch 2 port of one of their older games running there because they're focusing entirely on Anno, their new game, right? And so, yeah, it's a little sad. I do love that they're back. Nintendo has always been a huge component of Gamescom. I've been to, I think it's been like 15 Gamescoms. 2 were actually virtual in our own studio in LA. And I've been to all of them, and Nintendo was always pretty big. They always do like this big stage with competitions, then they have a playable area. It's always packed. This looked really big and healthy with a really big Pokemon presence. So it's awesome, and you certainly can't walk around and feel like Nintendo is not here.
Yeah, for sure.
But when you're looking at everybody else, it's a little bit, it's a little muted.
Yeah, so hopefully we get a little more playable games on Switch 2s at the next Gamescom or the next event, right? There's plenty more between now and then. Even though E3 is long gone, Gamescom lives on. It's the biggest in the world. One of the biggest games here was actually, kind of a small one. It's an indie game. It's Hollow Knight Silksong. We got a debut trailer for it with a release date, which is September 4th. A lot of people are going to play this. A lot of people are going to play this on Switch 2 specifically. Yep. This is one of those things that just feels like the thing you want to play on that big screen, on portable, on an airplane, in a car, anywhere you go, right? Not while driving, hopefully. But Jada, you got to play Hollow Knight Silksong at Gamescom. Tell us about it.
I did. It's great. It's hauntingly beautiful in the way that Hollow Knight is. The creatures, the just the ambience of the world is just masterful. It looks to be way bigger than Hollow Knight originally, and the developer says it's going to be bigger. There's like 150 more different enemies to fight this time around, supposedly, so that's good news for me who likes to fight and destroy things.
You love to kill stuff.
I do like to kill stuff, so I'm very excited for that. I'm very happy for all the backers who initially backed it because they updated their Kickstarter saying that they're going to be reaching out shortly to take care of the original backers and get them keys for Silksong.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, but this is great. Highly recommend if you're able to get here, and if you're at Gamescom and you want to play it, go to their booth early because the line has been capping out at about 11 a.m. Each morning.
The longest line that the line is so long that I think by the time you reach the end of it, the game would just be out and you could just download it on your Switch too.
I saw the same Gamescom until September 4th.
We like our neighbors over there have Metal Gear Solid Delta, another gigantic line, and it's like that game's out in like a week. So I get it, but also value your time.
Jada, thank you for reminding us that there was a Kickstarter, because like when you hear Hollow Knight, Hollow Knight is like the little big game, right?
Yeah.
Like everybody in media and even gamers were getting frustrated that Team Cherry doesn't observe the sort of traditional marketing approach of telling you constantly when the game is coming. They just went quiet, right?
Yeah.
Like they announced it really early and said, "See you in the future," and then like it's months and months of nothing, and like you wouldn't think a game like this needs a Kickstarter, and it honestly doesn't. When I look at traffic on IGN, like the sort of demand from players, the original Hollow Knight turned into a huge hit.
Yeah.
Like a bona fide hit. Everybody's looking forward to it. It's like, it's a wonderful Metroidvania with a very different art style from most of the games out there. It's just kind of cool to see. We actually, because we knew this would happen, we knew that the moment the release date would be announced, people would go back and play the original. So we made an all-new map on IGN and Map Genie for the original game, and already traffic's going up. Because like, everybody who saw this went, "Oh, I got to go back. I got to play it before the new one comes up."
Yeah, I've seen the game.
I've got to go finish it.
It's been on sale in a bunch of places too, so yeah, go check out that map. A slightly less punishing and challenging game that is at the show floor, but also got a 45-minute Nintendo Direct this week, is a game called Kirby Air Riders. So we got a 45-minute Direct hosted by legendary game designer Masahiro Sakurai. Super cool. I think it felt sort of like a send-up of Nintendo Directs at first. Like it felt like they were sort of like, poking fun a little bit at
100%.
Yeah, right?
Yeah.
And then it kept going. And going and going. And as Logan Plant, regular host here on NVC, pointed out, it sort of devolved into him just reading the manual, which I think is a very funny bit. But Per, you and I got to play this on the show floor, and our thoughts were a little mixed. I really appreciate where this game is going and what it's attempting, but also it was kind of chaos. It's simultaneously like very, very simple and very, very chaotic, a little frenetic, and I think we'll find our balance there eventually. But from our demo on the show floor, we mostly focused on the sort of the city area, which we didn't get to race as much, which I'm a little bummed about. But yeah, what did you think?
It's really funny because we did this video reaction to it, and we said, look, this might not be the game for us. And some people said, why do you put old people on camera talking about this? Well, we were not old people when Kirby Air Ride came out, and we all played it, and we know what it is. And when I talk about my kids, I'm not saying it's a kids game. They're now 24, 23, and 18 years old, and they'd be really mad at me for saying that I don't like it. No, it's very chaotic, but there's this sort of genius concept inside, right? At least for City Trial. I'm a big racing game fan. I always found the racing in the original Kirby Air Ride to just be weak, right? It's like, we joked it's a game that plays itself. You can actually put your controller down and Kirby will win that first race, if you're lucky. But there is obviously lots of technique in it, especially with a sort of like slow down to drift and boost. There's a lot in that. This game has a ton more, right? So it's not just a redo. There's just a lot more going on. And then it's really not about the racing. It's City Trial, right? This sort of Smash Brothers-like concept, with in past Smash Brothers game, you had a board game element and then you had the combat. This is similar, only that the board game is an action game that leads to a shorter action game challenge.
Yeah, well said.
And so the City Trial thing is really all about building up your character in different ways, and then there's almost like a social game element where when you're voting on what competition to enter with your upgraded character, you know what you're strong at and you can pick what you're strong at, or you can mislead people and pick what you're not strong at to make them pick the other thing, right? It's like the Princess Bride, right? It's like about, I knew you were going to poison it, right? And so I think it's brilliant, but my complaint, and I think it's the same as yours, it's like, it just doesn't feel that great to me.
Yeah, it like for having such simplified controls, I would think that it would sort of click a lot more naturally.
Yeah.
And it just kind of hasn't yet. And again, I'm going to get this game when it comes out. I'm going to play it because this is, one of my favorite game designers of all time is making a new game, and he's very clearly doing something that is deliberately not Smash Brothers, even if it has a lot of Smash Brothers.
No, and it's not Mario Kart. He was joking about that. It absolutely absolutely does not feel like Mario Kart in the racing levels. We got to play a racing challenge. We didn't get to play the main racing mode. That wasn't in the demo. But like even the sort of short races, you can tell it feels really differently. What I like about it are the different events going on. So the proof is really in the couch co-op.
Yeah.
Like I want to bring this home. I want to get my kids back together and play. Yeah. And do City Trial the old-fashioned way.
While you guys were doing City Trial, did you get to try out some of the different vehicles?
Yeah. And you have attacks, obviously, right? You can charge and attack your opponents. You can do like instant switches to a new rider you find, and then upgrade the rider. The riders have different capabilities, right? Like some are better for floating far, some are faster, some are better at turning on a dime, that sort of stuff. And so picking the right rider and then picking the right areas and things that give you the power-ups, that's crucial. You want to obviously upgrade a rider that's good for floating a long way with the ability to float longer, right? And so it is very strategic. And that strategy, when you watch this game, is kind of lost in the mayhem and the chaos. And what I really love are the sort of almost like server events where it's like, hey, everybody congregate in this one corner because something's coming down that you can bust open by all attacking it. It's almost like everybody work together, but then when it bursts, everybody for themselves grab all the power-ups and get everybody else on the way. It's very frantic. I think this is gonna be a lot of fun to play, but I wish it felt a little bit different.
I'm curious how I'm going to react once I play it, because I really love games where I get to min-max my stats and do things like that, so I think I'm really going to vibe with that element. But if the depth isn't there in the mini games or the different clashes and different combat types things, I think that's where it may lose me. But like I said, I still haven't played it yet, so hopefully when it drops, I'll,
Yeah, we were sort of wondering, like, what's the, not necessarily the end game, but like, what are you building towards? Like, obviously you're going to be unlocking characters and vehicles and stuff like that. And, like the first one in like every Smash Brothers games has had just this massive checklist of things to do, these little tick boxes, right? And so if your brain is the type, and I know it is, to say, hey, Jada, get every single one of those, then maybe that's the thing that'll compel you to keep playing over and over. But I think there's going to be specific factors that will have to work for this game to really click with you long term.
I wish this was a Nintendo Switch online game. Not to say that they still can't do something like this, but when you see City Trial, it's a map that gets repeated and repeated in the original game, of course. It would be so cool if there were seasons where every year you then get a new version of City Trial, and so everybody has to relearn it, discover new stuff, and so it doesn't just become this sort of routine combat, right?
So Perry, you're asking for a live service Nintendo game?
I'd see. Sometimes I don't know what I'm saying. I would love it to be. That's why I'm saying Nintendo Switch Online. I'm already paying.
No, I
actually have a family account, and so I love how Tetris 99 switches up its theme, and it would be so perfect for a game like this.
No,
right?
I totally agree. I think it would be very beneficial to have some elements change, even if it's just a small thing like buildings moving around, rotating, things lifting into the sky.
What?
A Nintendo Switch exclusive online game just launched, starring an adorable ball. It's called Dragon Drive, and it's available right now on Nintendo Switch.
I cannot believe you brought that one up. but what's really interesting about Kirby Air Riders and Kirby Air Ride is that, to me, the difference in game feel is the difference between Kirby and Mario. Kirby feels very floaty, right? And like the attacks, like the way you smash down everything, the inhaling part, feels very, very different from Mario. And so Mario Kart feels like Mario. And this feels more like Kirby, which obviously is very appropriate. But if you think it's gonna feel like Smash Brothers, it doesn't. It does not have that sort of punch. Like when you hit somebody with a baseball bat in Smash, that feels perfect, right?
Yes.
It's like this impact. This game is very, very like wobbly, very fast, very twitchy by comparison.
I do like the fact that the mechanic around hitting other players speeds you up instead of like slowing them down. Like there is a small slowdown, I believe. But
that feels good. You're right. Like when you attack somebody, that feels good. Yeah.
Yes.
Totally.
So like I think that's just a great way of rewarding like skillful use of items, because Mario Kart. Yes, you can have good use of skillful use of items, and it's beneficial to you, but that's usually on like support items, mushrooms, and things like that. And it only time you feels good, like if you land a banana peel, like throwing it over your head and hitting somebody right on top of them, which is very tough to do, but feels really good.
and it's not a shallow game, just to be clear, right? Just because it's frantic and more kid-friendly because you don't have to hold a button to go forward, it auto-drives, right? Just because of that doesn't mean it's not deep, because it does have like 1080 snowboarding. If you land straight, you get a boost, right? Or you lose balance if you don't. In this game, you get a boost if you angle your rider parallel to the ground and land. So it has a lot of technique, which we're expecting from Sakurai.
Yeah.
So it is a little bit deceptive.
Yeah, we'll see how this one pans out. It's out, what, November 20th, was it?
That's a big question. Is it their big Christmas game, or is there also
November
a Metroid,
20th.
Brian?
Well, I mean, we'll talk about that in a bit. But yeah, November 20th, $70, 25 gigs, which is a lot of, that's a lot of gigs for a Switch game.
We already know the size, huh?
Yeah, I think there's going to be a lot of original music on there, and maybe some videos we could watch. So that'll be fun. In the meantime, we had to take a quick break, but we'll be right back with plenty more Nintendo Voice Chat at Gamescom 2025. So don't go anywhere. We'll be right back after this.
The average Cinefix movie list features nearly 100 different films and approximately 25 minutes worth of wall-to-wall deep dive analysis. To simulate that pace for this 30-second ad, we're featuring 26 different films, and before you say it, no, that math does not check out. We're not math people, we're movie people. We can't even count down from 10 without ending up at, like, 96. Subscribe to IGN Movies and TV for more Cinefix movie lists. Bad at math, great at movies.
Can't find that final collectible you're missing? IGN strategy guides and interactive maps are here to help.
One step at a time.
IGN guides are trusted by millions, easy to use, and best of all, free. IGN has the very best, most complete and accurate guides for Shadow of the Erdtree, Baldur's Gate 3, Tears of the Kingdom, and so much more.
See? It's good, right?
Every guide is tested and verified for you by experts. Just search for IGN when you search for guides.
IGN Plus is where your adventure begins.
What are you selling?
Plus is the place to get unlimited access to all the tools you need to beat your games.
Here's what you need to know for bringing down Gloomspawn.
Plus, awesome exclusive discounts on IGN Store.
Maybe this would tease open your money pouch.
Plus, ad-free browsing on IGN.com. Plus, unlimited game help tools like premium interactive maps with your own custom map markers, filters, marker notes, and more.
This will come in handy.
Plus, access to sweepstakes, giveaways, and free game keys.
Wow! Exactly.
Want more? Head to IGN.com/plus and start your adventure today.
And we are back with a very special Gamescom 2025 episode of NVC live from the biggest video game convention on Earth right here at Gamescom Studio on IGN. I'm Brian. I'm with Jada and Pear. And we all got to spend time playing games at Nintendo's booth, which is lovely. Jada, you got to play Pokemon Legends ZA, which I know is like one of the biggest games of the show. Big lines.
Yeah.
Tell us about it.
Yeah, so it has the, we've seen the trailers. They've done a bunch of Pokemon Directs. They just had the little Victory Bell, Mega Victory Bell Direct that they had, or video, like YouTube video that came out a couple days ago. But the combat is very different in this one. It's more like Arceus, to where action is happening. You're rolling around the battlefield, maneuvering your Pokemon around, trying to take them down without yours fainting. This one, I was kind of surprised how good it felt to play. I was, we know how the performance was in the past Pokemon games, and this one felt very smooth. Now, granted, this was low-level gameplay. I think my highest level Pokemon at the start was 7, and by the time I ended, my Mareep was at like level 9.
Wow,
and
yeah.
So very low-level combat. I also couldn't tell like for sure what moves I was using because it was all in Dutch, and I don't speak Dutch. Or maybe it was French, German. I'm not sure.
Okay.
It was a language.
I hope it was German at Gamescom.
It was a language I did not comprehend. So I was trying to figure it out what moves I was using. Thankfully, they were color coded, so I could tell.
Right.
When I was using a flying move, it was like light blue. Electrical moves were yellow. But it felt really good. One of the things that also I didn't realize, I might have just missed in the previous trailers, but you can do stealth attacks on the different people. So like you can crouch and sneak up and then I sent out my Chikorita and used, I think, Razor Leaf on a Cubone. I think it was a Cubone. I can't remember which Pokemon it was. But yeah, I just did a little stealth attack and it knocked their health down to like half. It was an auto crit, I believe.
They can also get you though, right? Like
Yes.
if you're not facing them, they can get you.
So I don't, maybe wild Pokemon maybe,
Yeah.
but for any of the trainers that I ran into, if I wasn't like sneak up on them, it like a question mark pops above their head, like in traditional
I see.
stealth,
Okay,
and then it goes exclamation point, and they're like, and they challenge you,
Classic.
and then they pull out their Pokemon if it's not already out already, and then you summon yours.
And did you get to see like creepy Mega Victory Bell or anything like that?
I did not.
We're seeing some footage here of. We're not seeing the scary trailer they put out that revealed
Right.
it, but like.
This generally
nothing.
looks clean and it's running well. I mean, I don't think any Pokemon games in a while have really been the ones that you're just like, this is truly taking advantage of all the power under the hood, right? Like it's not like Tears of the Kingdom or something, but it looks clean and it runs well. And you know, I imagine you didn't get to see too much of like the larger world areas.
Did not. I was locked to just one little small space. For basically, I had to complete 3 battles to earn enough credit to give it a ticket, so then I could challenge somebody to raise my rank from Z to Y, but I wasn't even able to do. Unfortunately, demo ends before you're able to do that challenge battle, so I don't know what those look like either. It'll be very interesting to see how the bigger moves like Earthquake, Surf, Thunder, moves that are either like more screen covering or tougher to dodge.
Right.
Because I did find it pretty easy to maneuver my Pokemon around to dodge many of the attacks, but also I was fighting against like Weedles, so I wasn't really ever in danger.
Yeah, nothing that was too taxing on the Switch 2 hardware.
Exactly.
Basically.
So we'll see what it looks like when they showed that trailer with like the Gyarados. We'll see what those types of moves look like.
Looking at it being played on all the different monitors, you kind of get a good feel for people using different actions. I mean, I think they got so much backlash over the performance in the past that performance it running smoothly was at the top of their list, and you can see they're holding back on visuals, right? Like these are not crazy detailed textures on the ground. They're not doing a ton on the lighting front, so it's very simple. But I think they're trying their darndest to get this to run as smoothly as possible, which means it's not going to be a generational leap over what we remember playing, but it actually probably is a nice step up.
Yeah. I mean, I think the thing for a while was, these games keep selling incredible amounts, just obnoxiously high numbers.
Yep.
And that, people thought maybe the developers don't even care about performance because they keep hitting, crushing sales targets or whatever it is. But it is nice to see, at least so far, them prioritizing that a bit. And hopefully that is something that holds up in the larger areas.
They were never, this is Game Freak, they were never sort of at the forefront of technical innovation, right?
No.
Like, remember, like, games like Link to the Past, that had been out in 1990, and Pokemon still did not look as good for years and years to come, right? So,
their strengths were always in the RPG mechanics, the depth of combat, the builds you can put your teams together. That was like always like the number one priority, and then like cool creature design. Was maybe that was number one because I think that's what sells Pokemon. It's like if Charmander, Bulbasaur, and Squirtle looked terrible in Gen 1, like, would Pokemon be a thing? Probably not.
Well, I wanted to clean up a couple of other stories here at Gamescom and talk about a couple of other games, actually. So I actually got to play Elden Ring Tarnished Edition on Switch. It's sort of been
what a name,
is that
Brian, what a name.
What a name indeed.
Is the name fitting, Tarnished fitting for it?
I'm going to be a little gentler on this game than I think some of my colleagues, but I'm gonna kick it in the butt a little bit.
Money hat.
Okay, they I got that
They
that
got
big
to
money
you already.
from, they got to you. Yeah, this is I mean,
You've already got it downloaded on your Switch.
Game's
you
like
see a
3
little
years
dollar
old.
bill in his pocket or yen bill.
No, so I loved Elden Ring so much. I've made I've a big point of that on podcasts for years now.
Yeah.
100% of that game, did everything you can do in the DLC. Adore it. FromSoft, I don't think has the greatest history of making the best performing games. I think their art direction is second to none, and I think that does a lot of heavy lifting. And their gameplay is phenomenal, so people love it. When Elden Ring came to PC, people with like the beefiest PCs in the world notably had some performance issues. There was stuttering and pop-in and all this stuff. Elden Ring running on Switch 2 on the Nintendo show, or on the Gamescom show floor is an interesting one because they literally said no one could film it, which I believe is the only game at that booth where they were just like, this is not allowed.
Yeah.
They have it behind curtains, and part of that could be because it's like an M-rated game, and they have
100%. Yeah, you have to have the wristband.
Yeah, you need a wristband and all that.
Yeah.
So I played it. They had it on 2 units, 2 docked and 2 handheld, and I was like, please let me play it docked because I heard it's bad in handheld.
Yeah.
And they're like, we don't understand what you're saying, so you play it handheld.
Great.
And I was like, great, okay. So they handed me the Nintendo Switch, put the headphones on, started off beginning of the game, bullet run past the first area into the open world of Limgrave, and I'm like, this isn't that bad. Now,
1080p 30 is what they're going for, right?
Yes, and they're not hitting it.
Okay.
But
all right.
I'm also not as snobby about that as most people.
Okay.
So my stance on this is like, there's a lot of people who listen to this show who just don't own other systems, and that's fine, right? Like, they're Nintendo fans, and you guys, you owned a Switch, maybe you owned a Wii U or 3DS or a Wii or whatever your path came up with. But when these big third-party games come out, like Cyberpunk and The Witcher and stuff like that, this could be your first opportunity to play them. And so, by all means, I want those versions to be as great as they can for you. And so far, right now, this ain't that. But it was, for me, manageable. It was something where I was like, I could push past this. Now, if you have played Elden Ring, you know that like that open world's big, and you get into some areas where there's a lot of enemies on screen, and there's slowdown even on like a PS5 Pro, right?
Yeah.
And so I ran up to the area when you kind of move up and left towards that first big castle, and that big giant guy jumps down, and it looked like someone took like 2 pictures of a giant and dropped it off a cliff.
Oh,
like it was just like boom, boom, and then he was there. And I was like,
Oh.
I'm going to keep running. I'm going to push this game to the limit, see what happens. The archers start coming out, and like dodge rolling past them was like, I couldn't do it fast enough. And then I get to the first big boss, and like that's when the frame rate started becoming an issue. The
You're not
performance,
selling me on it right now.
Yeah.
You
So
started off saying, it's not that bad, it's fine. And now you're like, I'm worried now.
Yes, yeah.
But, there is one thing to remember. This is a vertical, I don't know if it's possibly a vertical slice of the game that is probably 2 to 3 months old. That's usually how the things that developers are bringing to the show floor. They can't bring the most current build because they have to make sure it's tested all the way to a certain point. And so that could get cleaned up. We still don't have a release date. It's listed for 2025. So it could get better. I think, maybe keep an eye out. We'll probably do, maybe we'll get a chance to do a preview closer to launch or
I hope
something
so,
like
yeah.
that.
Yeah.
That would be really cool.
It feels a little bit like Cyberpunk at the Nintendo preview of events, right? That one was sort of also sequestered away from the main show floor.
And we weren't impressed with it.
There
when we
were
saw it.
some demos like Metroid run really well, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I think the developer really focused on giving you a level experience that almost felt like the finished game, whereas like the guys making Cyberpunk and presumably the Elden Ring team didn't do that, right? They didn't put you in a confined area or designed it around that performance. In the end, Cyberpunk looks really good on Switch too, right? And it's one of those showcase games. When you show it to a friend running on that thin little handheld, they go, whoa, it is really impressive. Now, it all depends on whether you played it before in a more powerful console, and then you will see, obviously, the downgrade. And there are places where you can get yourself in trouble when you have too much going on the screen. So I'm hopeful that this is early.
I agree.
That's why they're not, not a giant booth with 30 stations, like a lot of more finished games are being shown that way, right? So hopefully that's just a taste of what's to come, and it'll be ironed out.
They didn't pull out a bunch of space and bring the giant egg that they had at IGN Live. Like they didn't bring that out.
No, I'm keeping hope alive for this one because I think it's one of the best games ever made, and I hope it runs well on Switch 2 and people can eventually play it for the first time or play it again. We also got a couple of smaller announcements this week that I want to clear up real quick that they were great, like Indiana Jones and the Great Circle. This is the first.
Oh my God!
Yeah, this is another fantastic game. This is the first major Switch 2 announcement from Xbox, right? Being like, they've had games on Switch for years now, but this is their first hey, we're putting a next gen game that's under the Xbox portfolio, and we're putting it on Switch 2. Not Forza. I know we both wanted Forza Horizon pair, but this is a good one.
But that's Forza is harder to pull off on the Switch 2 hardware. That is the most beautiful racer ever made, and it runs on 60 now on next-gen hardware, and so you would definitely see the step down here. Now, Indy does not always run perfect, but Indiana Jones is a beautiful game.
It really is.
I absolutely love this.
Yeah.
It was one of my favorite games from Microsoft in a long time. It's kind of like a classic adventure game where there's more walking and puzzle solving than combat, which I really like that mix, that I'm not constantly have to be running away from things. The world was absolutely stunning, and it
What about boulders?
Yes, and it starts with the Raiders of the Lost Ark sequence.
The tutorial,
But it does things like that where they bring in new traps. It's really got that feel of peeling back vines from old stone statues and figuring out how to put the wooden peg in and solving. Absolutely lovely, wonderful game. I'm so happy Nintendo fans are going to play this, and you should absolutely play this. Let's hope this version runs nice.
Yeah, the developers told me, I interviewed them about the DLC that's coming out soon, the Order of Giants, and I asked them if this would be sort of feature complete on Switch and if it would have the DLC included, and they said yes. So that's awesome. Hopefully they put it on a cart and collectors get everything all at once. I also asked them if they had considered using motion control Joy-Cons for the whip, and they looked at me like I was crazy. So I don't think that's happening.
That wouldn't be fun. Did you play it, Jada?
I did. It came out at a time where I was not in the mood for slower pace, immersive sim that it is. So I think I made it to the Vatican, and then I had to put it down because I was like, I'm not feeling this, and I don't want it to have a bad taste in my mouth from playing this right now when I'm not in the mood for it.
It's not one of those games where I would say, just keep playing and it gets better. Like Donkey Kong Bonanza, I firmly believe that the farther you get, the better the game gets. This one, if you didn't like the Vatican, it's in a city with lots of people, and you eventually go to the jungle and you pilot a boat and all of that. So it does feel better later, exploration-wise. But if you didn't dig it, it's not going to change a ton.
Oh, I like immersive sims. I like games like Indiana Jones. It just came out at a time when I was like, I've played a couple of these things right now. I've played a couple slower paced things. I want to play something that's more faster paced, more action oriented.
Well, you will love another game that got announced. I'll say it real quick before we move on to the end of the show. Lego Batman. Legacy of the Dark Knight. So this is coming to Switch 2. I imagine it's going to run and play great because it's a Lego game. So it feels like a spiritual successor to Lego City Undercover to me because it's got the open world elements, plus the Arkham games, all that fun stuff. It's going to be great.
Combat is so Arkham.
Literally,
it is. Popping into the, underneath the levels, hanging from the gargoyle.
It's got the brick flow system now.
Yep.
We interviewed the developers. They told us every Batmobile ever is in the game. They got to reveal some of the characters and suits and stuff like that. So go check out our Gamescom coverage of that. Last story, real quick. Metroid Prime 4 Beyond officially rated on Nintendo's website.
T for teen.
It's T for teen.
Yep.
But that also means that it's basically complete.
Yeah.
Theoretically, for that to happen.
It's usually 2 to 3 months away for.
Usually there are ESRB rated games that have never come out.
That is true,
ladies and gentlemen. But that usually means they're getting ready for release because they submitted documentation and playable stuff to them that goes beyond the demo we saw here.
I see what you did there.
But the demo we played here was the demo we played a couple of months ago.
Yeah, same one that was at the Switch 2 previews.
I expected that, though, honestly. They spent a lot of time making a very complete demo with timer and all of that, and it's to demonstrate the mouse controls, which I thought were excellent.
Yeah, they're great.
So good.
The game's gorgeous. I can't wait to play it on Switch 2. It's a little surprising it doesn't have a release date just yet, since Kirby did, but plenty of months before the end of the year, and Nintendo's launched 2 games in a month before, so...
It's got to be this. At this point, it's got to be. Yeah.
Well, thank you both so much. This has been an awesome Gamescom covering Nintendo. As always, that just about wraps us up for a very special Gamescom 2025 episode of MVC right here in Cologne, Germany. Thank you, Jada. Thank you, Per. And thank you to the entire crew working here. Yeah, you guys are awesome. Behind the scenes at Gamescom Studio on IGN, new episodes of MVC hit YouTube and your favorite podcast app every week. And they're hosted by Logan Plant, who's an amazing dude and a great friend. I love you, buddy. So be sure to tune in every week and check those out. And as always, Nintendo Voice Chat is on IGN production and part of the Geek Media Network. Be sure to check out all of our other weekly IGN and Geek Media podcasts. And remember, Nintendo Voice Chat is the only place where you can
get the thing.
Nailed it. Happy Gamescom, everybody.
I think it's the first time we got them all together.
Yeah.
At the same time. That was pretty innocent.
Oh my God, usually it's like staggered. Right?
Yeah.
Let's go get some Coach.
Yeah.
I'm down.
And some gelato.
The Cinefix Top 100. A list so secretive even we don't know what movies are on it or where they rank.
What do you mean you don't know?
Each episode will reveal one of the movies.
Did I rush it? Felt like I rushed. That was good. I liked it.
Talk about why it belongs and finally find out where it ranks.
Are you not entertained?
Are any of the movies we've shown here even on the list? I have no idea, and it drives me crazy. Join us as we find out on Cinefix, IGN, and wherever you get your podcasts.
Why so serious?
Catch up on all your favorite shows with up-to-the-minute gaming and entertainment news with Geek Media Podcasts.
Welcome to a very special episode of IGN Game Scoop.
Game Scoop has you covered for all things gaming and the latest game releases. Tune into Podcast Beyond for the biggest PlayStation news.
Man, this is a cool looking trailer.
Everything Xbox on Podcasts Unlocked.
This is Steve Downs, the voice of Master Chief.
Catch up with your Super Nintendos on Nintendo Voice Chat.
Switched to pre-order Mania. It was chaotic last night.
And get all the latest console news and rumors with Next Gen Console Watch.
Now Xbox and Phil Spencer are even saying that a mid-gen refresh isn't even necessary.
The Cinefix Top 100 podcast picks a movie every week to celebrate and debate.
It's kind of every movie's grandpa.
Geek Media Podcasts, the best podcasts from around the world.
IGN Playlist is the best way to track your game collection. Now you can even import your entire Steam library to Playlist, making it easier than ever to review games, show off your collection to the world, and finally chip away at that massive backlog you keep meaning to get to. IGN Playlist, check it out.
Can't find that final collectible you're missing? IGN guides are trusted by millions, easy to use, and best of all, free. IGN has the very best, most complete and accurate guides for Shadow of the Erdtree, Baldur's Gate 3, Tears of the Kingdom, and so much more.
It's good, right?
Every guide is tested and verified for you by experts. Just search for IGN when you search for guides.
Welcome to the biggest gaming playground in the world, where 500,000 people come together to play, connect, and celebrate across Cologne. 1,500 exhibitors, the biggest names in the gaming industry, bringing countless games for you to explore and dominate. And we're just getting started. Ready to jump into some gameplay? Then get set for Gamescom Opening Night Live, featuring the major announcements and brand new game trailers. Less watching, more playing? Then stop by Gamescom's unique indie area, where you're in control of the most creative and unique projects from beloved indie studios. And if that's not enough, don't miss Gamescom Awesome Indies, our show featuring the hottest new titles from the scene. Or become the hero yourself and step into the Gamescom Cosplay Contest, bringing cosplayers and fans together from around the globe for an unforgettable community experience. Join live shows, esports tournaments, and creator events at the Gamescom Event Arena. Can't make it to Gamescom in person? Visit our website gamescom.global and experience all program highlights via our content hub, Gamescom Now. While you're there, make your voice count in the Gamescom Award. Vote for the most exciting games, groundbreaking products, and jaw-dropping innovations presented here at Gamescom. Do you remember our incredible friends and gaming experts from IGN? Of course, they're back, hosting full days of Gamescom studio live streams on Twitch and YouTube. Oh, hey, AP, crashing the party. You'll find our all-time favorite RPG Gamescom epics on our website. Join the community and grab your loot. Now moving on to something that is very important to us. Our initiative, Gamescom Cares. We want to shine a light on social and environmental responsibility. In order to reduce emissions, Gamescom runs on 100% renewable energy. Just as important, accessibility is key for us. Gamescom should be a safe, inclusive space for everyone. Speaking of inclusive spaces, the Gamescom City Festival is taking over the city with live music, awesome shows, and all kinds of fun. Did we mention? Entry to the City Festival is free for everyone. Welcome to the playground. Welcome to Gamescom.
You're watching Gamescom Studio on IGN. In just a sec, we're bringing you a brand new episode of Next Gen Console Watch, our weekly IGN show that breaks down all the latest news and rumors in video game tech. But first, Biggest Game Releases is our monthly show that details nearly every video game heading your way in the not-so-distant future. Take a look.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to a very special Gamescom Studio edition of Biggest Game Releases, the show where we run down what's coming out for PC, consoles, and beyond in any given month. As tempting as it was to run down all the video games that came out already in November 2001, we figured it might be more relevant to talk about next month instead. So here are September 2025's Biggest Game Releases. Before we get into it, just a friendly reminder that we all work really hard to make these videos as informative, accurate, and up-to-date as possible, but video game release dates change constantly, whether that means a very last-minute delay, a surprise announcement, or something in between. And it is extremely possible, if not likely, that some new information falls through the cracks in this video. Also, this is a series made by actual human beings, and unlike cold, unthinking, infallible machines that think glue goes on pizza and the word Oreo is a palindrome, sometimes we screw up, so apologies if that happens. We're sorry. Please be kind, and for best results, always check your local listings. Now let's talk about some video games. On September 3rd, there's Hirogami on PC and PS5, a 3D platformer set in a world inspired by origami, the Japanese art of folding paper, and potentially kirigami, which is the art of folding and cutting paper. If you prefer something a little heavier than paper and scissors, you can rock out in the metal-looking Jotun Slayer Hordes of Hell, which is a roguelite horde survival game rooted in Norse mythology. That's on PC, PS5, Xbox Series, and PC. I already said PC. Hey, remember how I said sometimes video game release dates come out of nowhere? Well, we got a doozy over here. Hollow Knight's long-awaited sequel, Silksong, finally got a release date in the middle of Gamescom. You probably heard about it already. September 4th. It's coming to basically everything. Happy birthday, Silksong fans. Or just happy September 4th, I guess. On the 4th, those very same platforms get the standard edition of Hell is Us. The deluxe edition gives early access starting on the 1st, but for everybody else, it's the 4th. For me, Hell is staggered release dates. But in any case, this game has hints of Death Stranding and FromSoft, but it's also taking some inspiration from Jeff Vandermeer's Southern Reach trilogy, the very good sci-fi novels that were loosely adapted into the also very good but very different film Annihilation. So hopefully this game is also very good. September 4th also sees the release of Indiana Jones and the Great Circle's first DLC expansion, The Order of the Giants. This is coming to all platforms the game is already out on, which sadly does not yet include the Nintendo Switch 2. But if you're a Nintendo Switch 2 owner itching for a game that starts with the Lucasfilm logo and has John Williams-esque orchestral stabs throughout, Star Wars Outlaws gets a port that day, which adds a few exclusive features to the new Nintendo hybrid, like touchscreen minigames, and both the Outlaws DLC expansions will be available for that one day one. If you're more into Studio Ghibli than Lucasfilm, take a gander at Kajora, which hits PC that day. This hand-drawn puzzle platformer follows a trio of friends who realize their village is stuck in a time loop. If you'd rather be in a time loop in a more roguelite sense, and also in outer space, you've got options. The co-op roguelite shooter Void Crew, which is already on PC, comes to Xbox Series and PS5. Meanwhile, PC players can get Moros Protocol, a crunchy pixelated roguelite boomer shooter. If you want to shoot cel-shaded stuff instead, I got you. There's also Jet Runner, a parkour-infused FPS that describes itself as a cross between Titanfall and Trackmania. If you would sooner get slapped upside the head than play a roguelite or an FPS, well, strap on your MetaQuest and check out the story-driven VR fighting game Slap Fighter, which sounds pretty self-explanatory.
If you want to rage against the machine in a game whose title incorporates the title of a James Cameron movie, as well as the name of a discontinued, youth-oriented Toyota-owned auto brand, well, Daemon Ex Machina Titanic Scion is probably for you, I think.
The sequel to the 2019 mech action game, which is coming to Switch 2, Xbox Series, PS5, and PC. If you want something with slick anime aesthetics that's a little more cerebral, there's also Shoot an Order, which blends puzzle, dating sim, survival horror, and escape room mechanics and themes into something that looks pretty out there, which is to be expected since it's from the creator of Danganronpa. That's on PC and Switch. If you'd rather be shooting some three-pointers, there's also NBA 2K26 that day as well on everything, though people who pre-ordered the premium editions that include early access will have been playing this game since last month.
If you're repulsed by the idea of a sport where one must propel a large ball a short distance into a vessel it's going to fall out of, and you'd prefer to play a game about propelling a very small ball large distances into a vessel where it'll probably stay put, well, that's oddly specific, but you're probably going to enjoy Everybody's Golf Hot Shots.
This is the first new installment in the casual, cartoony golf series in 8 years, and while it's historically been PlayStation exclusive, this new one is coming to PC and Switch as well.
Golf! Golf.
September 5th also sees the latest from Team Bloober, Chronos New Dawn, a survival horror steeped in retro futurism and brutalist aesthetics. In this one, if you don't get rid of the gross, scary monsters properly, they merge together into even grosser, scarier monsters that are even harder to get rid of, which sounds to me like a combination of two of the creepiest concepts to ever grace the survival horror genre. The Crimson Head zombies in the original Resident Evil, which you had to burn to get rid of, and the Rat King in The Last of Us Part 2, which was a bunch of gross monsters glued together. That's on PS5, Xbox Series, Switch 2, and PC. If you would like to play a game about things with tentacles that will not give you bad dreams at night, you might be better off with Operation Octo, which is a cute tower defense game about cartoon cephalopods, and it's on PC.
If you love lasagna, hate Mondays, and live your life 1/4 mile at a time, well, buckle up because Garfield Kart 2 All You Can Drift hits consoles and PC on September 10th.
And it features a flabbergasting roster of 8 iconic characters, including Garfield, Odie, Nermal, John Arbuckle, Arlene, Squeak the Mouse, Dr. Liz Wilson, and Big Vicious Dog. And by including, I mean that's all of them.
On September 12th, Borderlands 4 hits Xbox Series, PS5, and PC, and it seems to be tackling a number of the issues that fans had with Borderlands 3 and its subsequent spin-offs.
Namely, pumping the brakes on the goofs and gags while also tweaking, streamlining, and/or refining the loot system menus and co-op. That'll be hitting Nintendo Switch 2 on October 3rd as well.
Roman Sans Rebuild sounds like a cousin of Roman Reigns, or perhaps a historical RTS, but it is, in fact, an adventure, gacha, puzzle, apocalypse, visual novel, simulation, horror trip, according to the official description.
That involves working at a luxury resort, but also a post-apocalyptic wasteland. I'm not sure how those two intersect, but from what I've gathered, it already came out, sort of, and then it got unreleased. But then it was planned for release in 2023, and then again in 2024, but supposedly it's actually out September 12th, 2025 for Switch and PC, with other console versions arriving at some point, I guess? If you need something a little easier pieced together than that release strategy, LEGO Voyagers drops on the 15th, which is a 2-player co-op adventure a bit like Hazelight's games A Way Out, or It Takes Two, or Split Fiction, except instead of playing as prison inmates, dolls with marital problems, or struggling authors, you are a couple of cute little LEGO bricks. That's on basically everything but Xbox One. If you want a game that involves building stuff out of natural resources instead of modular Danish construction toys, there is Voyagers of Nira, the co-op survival game set in a gorgeous ocean world, which is also an open world, and vice versa, I believe. That hits PC on the 16th. On the 18th, Emotionless, The Last Ticket hits PC, which is a liminal cosmic horror game set in an abandoned theme park where people throw ducks at balloons and nothing is as it seems.
Okay, the ducks and the balloons thing is really more of a Simpsons reference, but all the rest, it certainly seems like it's nothing as it seems.
If you want to go on a horrifying nightmare adventure but also bring some friends along for emotional support, Labyrinthine Console Edition arrives that same day on PS5 and Xbox Series, and it's already on PC, and now it's getting cross-platform co-op for up to 8 players.
Usually when we talk about classes in video games, it means like jobs for wizards and knights and stuff, and not the kind of classes you take in a classroom. But what if it was both?
Class of Heroes 3 Remastered is a school-centric dungeon-crawling RPG originally released for the PSP that is now getting polished up and coming to PS5, Switch, and PC. Still that day is My Child of Ages, a Zelda-like from the studio that brought us the first-person puzzle game Suicide Guy, which was later renamed Sleepin' Guy for reasons that shouldn't be too hard to figure out. My Child of Ages is coming to PC on the 18th, Switch on the 25th, and basically everything else at some point in the future. They should do a prequel called My Wife of Seasons. Finally, that day also sees Frostpunk 2 finally hitting Xbox Series and PS5, which promises to be a good time for anyone who's looking to have a bad time managing a struggling community in a bleak post-apocalyptic ice age.
If you're a fan of roguelites and you've ever wanted to guard a sacred tree, well, great news, because on the 19th, there is Toa and the Guardians of the Sacred Tree, which also has that guy in it.
which is a roguelite that presumably also entails some arboreal enforcement. That means guarding a tree, I think. That's on PS5, Xbox Series, Switch, and PC. Still, that
scurrying around the show floor as we speak to bring you some exclusive content that you'll see over the next hour or so. I'm talking hands-on time with games that you desperately want to play, like Silksong and Lego Batman, as well as games that you just need to know more about. And we've got exclusive developer interviews and some secret and special content planned along the way as well. In fact, why don't we kick things off with something very special indeed.
One of the biggest talking points at this year's Gamescom was, of course, Resident Evil Requiem. The 15 to 20 minute demo, depending on how much time you spend noping out and standing in the safety of the opening room, begins with new protagonist Grace Ashcroft strapped to a hospital bed, upside down, and clearly not here of her own free will. Grace is a new character in the Resident Evil franchise, and unlike Leon Kennedy, Jill Valentine or Ethan Winters, approaches the situations she finds herself in with a sense of trepidation. She's cautious and, thanks to her work as an FBI agent, leans on her skills of deduction and analysis rather than weapon handling. She can even trip and fall while running in certain panicked situations, if you're playing in third person, which definitely helps give you the feeling that you, as a player, and Grace are both feeling the same things as you play through. And that feeling is terrified. Continuing out of the room you wake up in, and through the only open door, you move into the hospital corridors in a search of a way out. It's here that the graphic fidelity really shines. This footage is captured on PlayStation 5, and the lighting and atmosphere is the best I've seen in a game in this generation. The sound design is also on point, from Grace's breathing to the dull hum of the hospital strip lights struggling to spark into life after you flick the switch. Soon I'm presented with the first classic Resident Evil puzzle, a locked door that needs a key. Finding this key and opening the door will get you a lighter, which Grace can use to navigate through the pitch black rooms of the hospital ward. And this game is dark, intentionally so. There are periods where without the lighter you can't see anything, which plays into what I think is one of the key mechanics in the game, light versus dark, both metaphorically and in the very real sense. Creeping around another room to find the next item, a screwdriver, I get a first look at the game's monster. Much like Resi 3's Nemesis, this creature is big, slow, and ever-present, in this section of the game at least. But unlike Nemesis, it has a serious weakness: light. Disappearing into the ceiling, you're left alone to complete the puzzle, but with the feeling that the monster could return at any time. You can even hear it from time to time stomping around the floor above. But it's the sections where it all goes quiet that the tension really ramps up, because you know it's just waiting for the right moment to burst through a door or drop down through a hole. The demo ends with Grace escaping into another part of the hospital, with the monster in hot pursuit. It's not going to be the last time we see these two running around dark corridors together, that's for sure. And it wasn't mine either. I instantly went back to play it all again in third person. An option you can choose at any point in the game by accessing the menu and changing the camera setting. I guess it just means I'll be playing the game through twice when it launches on PlayStation 5, Xbox Series X and S, and PC on February the 27th, 2026.
That was Resident Evil 9 Requiem. Up next, Nathan is going to summarise everything that you potentially missed in opening night live in just 2 minutes.
Gamescom 2025's opening night live, hosted by Sir Jeff of Keighley, kicked off with a world premiere of Call of Duty Black Ops 7, unveiling a campaign, co-op story mode and a fresh PvE endgame mode. It's slated for release on November 14th. Capcom followed with a chilling new look at Resident Evil 9 Requiem, where a phone call leads to a power cut, which leads to a robed man recreating his favourite moment from Manhunt. Oh, we're gonna get demonetised. Blood that. Thank you. Not long to wait until this entry launches though. It comes out on the 27th of February next year. Onimusha Way of the Sword gave us another look at the revived samurai-style strategic combat, and Hollow Knight Silk Song was once again delayed. I'm kidding. I'm kidding. 2025 release date was confirmed, and we were treated to some new footage, so it's all good. Other standouts included Silent Hill F, Ninja Gaiden 4, The Outer Worlds 2, Ghost of Yotai confirming a return of its co-op Legends multiplayer mode, and the reveal of a brand new game from the creator of Monkey Island, Death by Scrolling. Fallout Season 2 also teased its return, this time featuring New Vegas and a Deathclaw. Finally! But of course, Jeff always has one more thing up his sleeve, and this time it was a cinematic surprise in the form of a new Black Myth game to follow up 2024's Black Myth Wukong. Arguably the biggest surprise of the night though was LEGO Batman Legacy of the Dark Knight, an evolution of the series similar to the recent Skywalker saga that features an open world Gotham, an Arkham style combat overhaul, and a story that's set to incorporate key moments of Batman's cinematic history. Coming in 2026, it looks set to scratch that Arkham itch that your doctor says isn't a real medical condition. Yeah, I'll be the judge of that. But I tell you what, why don't we just cut to the chase and give you a hands-on with this bad boy? I'll pass over now to myself, live at the scene of the crime. LEGO Batman Legacy of the Dark Knight mixes the usual LEGO chaos with mechanics clearly inspired by the Arkham games, but the aspect of the game that really shines like a bat signal in the sky is the deep love for Batman's history. So I could tell you what I thought of this game, right, but who cares? I liked it, it's really good, you should play it. How about instead I take you on a tour of some of the best Batman references I spotted? You want to get nuts?
Let's get nuts. I'm allergic to nuts.
The first thing I got to play was a section set in the open world of Gotham City, and what a beauty it was. Billboards for action news were plastered across buildings, identical to the ones in Batman 89. You can even see Vicky Vale and Alexander Knox are set to host GBC News, so we might see some more of them in the game too. On one rooftop I stumbled across a collectible rubber duck, which I'm pretty sure is a nod to the Penguin and his Duckmobile thing from Batman Returns. Speaking of Oswald Cobblepot, I also spotted a campaign poster that looked awfully similar to his Mayor Penguin posters. Then during a street fight I noticed posters warning of a cat burglar, hyping up Harvey Dent, promoting a quiz night hosted by everyone's least favourite trophy enthusiast, and even one poster advertising the services of a rat catcher. Yeah, you remember that guy? Then as the camera whipped round I caught a quick glance at some graffiti referencing the Court of Owls, the shadowy organisation who rule Gotham from the shadows and send the undead Talons to do their bidding. The next part of the demo though saw Batman and Gordon infiltrating Ace Chemicals to shut down the Red Hood gang, who were cooking up a new toxin to terrorise Gotham with. While the Red Hood has been a staple of Batman lore for a long time now, the Red Hood gang as a concept, and their leader being Red Hood 1, comes directly from Scott Snyder and Greg Capullo's Zero Year, where the duo reimagined Batman's origin for the New 52 era. When Red Hood showed off his toxin, it was in a bottle labelled Smilex, the laugh-inducing chemical favoured by Jack Nicholson's Joker.
With a new secret ingredient, Smiley. What is this?
Then the demo's explosive finale leaned heavily into Batman 89, recreating several iconic lines and visuals in glorious LEGO form.
You ever dance with the devil in the pale moonlight?
But my absolute favourite deep cut, well, had to be this one. I accidentally knocked a Red Hood goon into a chemical vat and he yelled,
Oh no! It's boiling acid!
Exactly like the panicked bank guard at the beginning of Batman Forever.
Oh no! It's boiling acid! Oh no! It's boiling acid!
So there you have it, a deep dive into the Easter eggs of LEGO Batman Legacy of the Dark Knight. Trust me, this game is shaping up to be more fun than a Bat credit card with no spending limit. And you can enjoy it when it releases in 2026.
That was LEGO Batman Legacy of the Dark Knight. Up next, we are speaking to the one, the only, the legendary Randy Pitchford about Borderlands 4.
I'm Randy Pitchford. I am the founder of the Gearbox Entertainment Company, and I'm working on Borderlands 4. Borderlands, if you haven't heard about it, is fun. It's just, we sometimes don't care about the rules. We just care about joy, entertainment, surprise, delight, and just fun. And it's a shooter looter. And it's not just a shooter looter. We created the genre. And if you don't know what that is, it's sort of a blend between a first-person shooter and a role-playing game, where it's fun in the moment-to-moment, aiming and dodging and shooting and knocking targets down, but it's also fun in the long term, collecting loot, leveling up, becoming more powerful, developing skills and capabilities, and getting to become a god in this world that we're in. So Borderlands is the king of the looter shooters, but Borderlands 4 is really special. Not only have we gotten really, really good at making Borderlands games because we've been doing it for so long, making this, in my opinion, the greatest Borderlands game we've ever made, it's also kind of fresh. It does not depend upon any prior Borderlands experience. You see Borderlands 4 and you think, oh, do I have to catch up on the story? Absolutely not. Borderlands 4 takes place in an entirely new planet with entirely new characters. If you've played a Borderlands game, you will find the connection. You will feel familiar, you'll feel comfortable, but you'll also feel the connection with the story. But if you've never played a Borderlands game before, it's the perfect jumping off point because it is a new setting, a new storyline, and new characters. I know for a fact that whenever we've made a numbered sequel for Borderlands, we get about 30% of our players are joining us for the first time. And so we knew that going into it. So we made Borderlands 4 to be the most inviting version of a new Borderlands game for new people.
Heard you were rounding up some vault hunters. Reporting for duty, boss.
With each game, we push boundaries, and we can see those times we've gone too far. Sometimes it's in a game mechanic, sometimes it's in a story decision or a tone decision. The fact that we're now in our 4th iteration means we've seen the extents, we've seen the boundaries, we've seen when we push the pendulum too far in one direction, too far in the other direction, and we know where the bullseye is. And that's, I think, to the benefit of all the gamers. One of the coolest things about Borderlands 4 is, I think technology, both our software technology and the hardware technology, has finally caught up to our ambition. In all of the previous Borderlands games, we've been constrained with load times. In Borderlands 4, the entire world is seamless. There's no load times. You can see a massive world, and you can explore that world, and you don't have to wait. With that comes all kinds of new design for environments, methods of traversal for getting around these different kinds of locations. Not only does it make the game feel more natural from what it always should have been, it led us to evolve design in mobility. When you digistruct in one of your personal vehicles and you hop on that thing and you're hauling ass across the world for miles and miles and miles without a load time, you just feel awesome. The fact that you can feel that freedom and that joy, it's just a beautiful thing. And that's kind of what drives us. That's why we love pushing boundaries and why I'm so grateful that technology finally has caught up to the ambition of Borderlands. Borderlands 4 is launching soon on September 12th. We're coming to Xbox, we're coming to PlayStation, we're coming to Windows PC, and not long after, we're also coming to Nintendo Switch 2. It's very, very exciting. Jump in, wish list now, pre-order now, get it. There's lots of goodies for you if you pre-order, so jump in.
Thank you very much to Randy Pitchford for that amazing interview. Next up, we're about to go on stage and play Sonic Racing Crossworlds. Place your bets on how badly you think I'll do. So I'm just going to say it. It's time we stopped pretending that Sonic racing games aren't top-tier contenders. All-Star Racing Transformed was an utter banger, and Crossworlds really does carry over that same vibe and confident swagger. With blistering visuals and a whip-like speed, Crossworlds is a blast to play, especially on a stage that is as grand as this. Here we are on the Sonic Racing Crossworlds booth here at Gamescom, and we are about to play it live in front of this massive stage. It's going to be absolutely epic. Who do you think's going to win? It's going to be me. I've got my big socks on. I've got my big socks on, mate. I'm going to win. I'm going to win. I'm going to win. I'm going to Plus, the level designs are absolutely brilliant. Stages can be altered by passing through track switch portals, which can turn a race through an ancient kingdom into a scramble across pools of lava while dragons blast you with fire. Power-ups are equally varied and feel hilarious or hilariously spiteful to use. Shredding an opponent with a buzzsaw or using a black hole to steal their coins is the type of mustache-twirling evil that even Dr. Robotnik would be proud of.
I want to thank Sega for this wonderful opportunity to play and win. It's quite nice to win.
I don't want to talk about it. Get that camera right back.
Plus, there were so many vehicles to customize and choose from and a roster of races bigger than most fighting games, so it means that this is a content goldmine that is just waiting to be explored. And yeah, I did come third. I don't want to talk about it.
I'm Aaron. I work at Luna Software, and I'm an artist and designer working on a game called Routine. Routine is a 1980s vision of the future. It's a sci-fi horror game set on our moon. It's all about atmosphere, making people susceptible to any type of fear and scary thing we want to play with. And there's a lot of analog love and appreciation in it, from CRTs to just the grime of things, the weight and tactile nature of hardware and stuff like that. So I grew up basically next to a VHS store. As a kid, I basically had full access to horror, all the horror I want. So I was watching Alien, 2001, all that stuff, right? And the thing that really stuck with me was the tone and the atmosphere and just being lost in those worlds. And fast forward many, many years, I just really wanted to get stuck in. The moon was a very curious setting for me. I was just wanted to see what it'd be like to explore that area as if it was, a piece of media from the 80s and what they thought the future would look like. So the player is a software engineer. They arrive on the moon base to essentially fix an anomaly with the moon base's automated security network. When they arrive, people aren't really there to greet them. And you essentially look around, explore, and uncover kind of like the very recent events that have just happened and try to figure out what the connection is between the issue that you've come to solve and why no one's there. You have a tool, which is a multi-purpose tool. We didn't want to create lots of different tools like weapons that had one function. It was the idea of creating a piece of hardware that felt like a piece of hardware. It would help you solve puzzles. It will help save your data as you progress, or you'd have to find in-world projections that you connect your cat to, which is what the name of the tool is called. So it's called the CAT, and it stands for Cosmonaut Assistance Tool. With that, you can connect to projectors in the world, which display your PDA. So you can see tasks, you can save your data, and so on. It can help defend yourself a little bit as well. So the CAT is definitely something that you have to manage, like a lot of hardware from the 80s. Things like batteries, different value depending on which function you're using. Like with the defense, will take a lot more battery, some not as much for like maybe puzzle solving. You can find batteries scattered throughout the world. As you've seen on the CAT, it features a CRT. The CRT can be affected by like a magnetic field, for instance, and it will mess up the distortion and the convergence of things on the screen. So it's kind of like an environment hazard without hurting the player. The next thing I would say is the AI and how the player can kind of interact with them. So horror generally can be split in two ways. You have horror that is more focused on combat, and horror that is strictly just, there's no combat, it's more psychological. We kind of fit in the middle a little bit. Defense with the CAT is kind of an option, but it won't give you a lot of power. It will help you evade, help you survive, but it's definitely not a weapon that you're gonna cause destruction with, that's for sure. Probably seen a few times in the trailer, there's a robotic threat. That is the one we're very happy showing, and it's intimidating. It's got some really interesting capabilities. In the latest trailer, we essentially hint at something that may be a little bit more intimidating as the game goes on, and I won't say too much more, but it's definitely something that we're keeping a bit closer. So Routine is going to be releasing on Steam and all Xbox platforms and Game Pass later this year.
Next up, we are off to an undisclosed location to talk about the mysterious new project from Zaum Studios. That's right, it's time to talk about Zero Parades.
Brilliant. Relentless.
This is a very exciting time at our studio. We just announced Zero Parades, our new game at Opening Night Live, Zero Parades is an espionage CRPG that takes heavy inspiration from both espionage fiction and weird sci-fi. So it's a highly paranoia-drenched experience where you get to experience metaphysical horror and miracles. The protagonist of Zero Parades is a spy named Herschel. Herschel, at the end of the day, is not a pleasant person to be around. She's brilliant in her own way, but also deeply flawed, deeply weird, has her strange obsessions that kind of contradict whatever it is that she needs to accomplish as a spy in theater. All of the people in her life that have placed their trust in her have been burnt painfully and traumatically. And Herschel as well, you know, she's a deeply traumatized individual. What happens if the very people that you need to pull off your mission are the ones that you betrayed so horrendously in the recent past that they're either dead or completely unwilling to even speak with you? What happens if those are the people you're going to need? We define ourselves as a narrative first studio. You know, we're not in the business of making platformers or action games or strategy games. It just makes sense for us to kind of put story first and do what we know. So the story comes first and foremost, and cannot wait to share the story with the players. Thank you for being curious and excited about Zero Parades. Wishlist now on Steam is what the cool kids would say, I guess.
I, for one, cannot wait for this game to come out, and I love the fact that failure will allow me to carry forward in life rather than stopping me dead in my tracks, as it normally does. Up next, we're about to go back in time and catch up with all the things you may have missed from the Future Games show at Gamescom.
Hot on the heels of Opening Night Live, the Future Games show at Gamescom showcase exploded onto the scene, hosted by none other than David Hayter and Maggie Robertson, perhaps better known to many as Solid Snake from Metal Gear Solid and Lady Dimitrescu from Resident Evil Village. And while they both looked absolutely stunning, so too did the show's first world premiere, Hell Let Loose Vietnam, which is launching in 2026. Den of Wolves, a sci-fi heist experience made by the creator of Payday and Payday 2, made an attempt to steal the show shortly after, with its incredible style, impressive amount of prep work that teams can take part in, and some absolutely wild gunplay. And you can check out the full new trailer on the FGS YouTube channel. And also looking to put their money where their mouth is were the creators of Skate, who talked about the heart and soul of this outstanding return to the franchise.
We are light years ahead of where we were in the previous games, and now you can climb, and now you can swing, and now you can combine all of these systems together, and the depth of the skating is better and bigger than it's ever been.
The world premiere of 1348 Ex Voto caused waves thanks to its intense action and superb voice acting, as did its now much anticipated release date of 2026. And speaking of anticipation, there's probably no hotter game on the horizon than Resident Evil Requiem. And in our interview with the team at Capcom, we got to see more of what horrors lurk in the dark for this hugely exciting mainline entry into the Resident Evil franchise, which also drops in February 2026.
待ち受けています。サバイバルホラーというゲームの性質上、グレースが立ち向かうクリーチャーの正体をここでお話しすることはできませんが、未知の脅威から生き残るゲーム体験を楽しんでいただけると嬉しいです。
Infected.
Hell Is Us gave us more to chew on thanks to its story-focused trailer, as did People Can Fly, who dropped a new release date for their upcoming survival and crafting title Lost Rift. You too can explore the unknown on September the 25th later this year. Clowns, Dreams and Guns, not just the name of my new rap album, but also the strange themes explored in upcoming existentialist shooter Dreams of Another. And then the oddity ramped up even further with Pizza Bandit, an intense action game in which you look to claim bounties, defeat monsters, and perfect recipes as you jump through different realities and timelines. Yes, I would like to make a strange reservation, please.
But all I ever wanted was to be a chef.
Saying that, there is one place that I don't actually fancy staying overnight, and that's the Vanderboom house shown off in Servant of the Lake, another showcase world premiere whose cutesy graphics were hiding a horror lurking within this mysterious estate. Now, when BPM Bit Crushed was shown off, I did a dance of happiness that my doctor has said never to do again. But can you blame me? The hit shooter in which you could only shoot and reload on the beat got given a new art style, added roguelike features, and keeps the cutest mascot ever? Plus, you can use your own music now. This game is not ready for my unhealthy love of grindcore. And also hitting the high notes was Hotel Barcelona, the newest project from both Suda51 and Swery, aka the minds behind Deadly Premonition and No More Heroes. As you might expect, the footage was unhinged, off the wall, and immediately went straight onto my wish list. Plus, by the way, stick around because we're later chatting to the one and only Suda51.
What the f*** are you doing? Can't you see I'm working here?
Later on in the show, making his triumphant return was Styx, who thanks to a new gameplay trailer showed off what this foul-mouthed goblin can really do in Styx Blades of Greed. This stealth action title with a liberal dose of magic and mind controlling is coming to consoles and PC in fall 2025. Now, if you ever wished your aerial dogfights had more literal dogs in them, then you must have loved seeing Wild Blue, a title that pays homage to the likes of Star Fox with a huge dose of 90s early morning TV charm. And if you wanted your bounty hunting to have more howdy partner, then you'd have been blown away by Bounty Star. Here you build and maintain a mech suit in the wildest of western settings, slinging guns and ticking off names on your revenge bucket list.
There you are. All better.
With its stunning graphics and intriguing approach to hacking and puzzle solving, Pragmata caught the world's attention when it was originally announced, so we were thrilled to chat with the team from Capcom on its development, its characters, and even a few teasers of future content.
One of the standout features of Pragmata is the combat system, in which both of our protagonists must work together. Diana can hack enemies, which opens up their armor. Hugh can then come in with his arsenal of various weapons to shoot at their now exposed weak spots.
Now, as sad as it was to see the show come to a conclusion, there was of course one more huge reveal, and we just need to talk about how amazing it was to see the Halloween franchise hit our screens in video game form. The tone, the music, the fact that John Carpenter was directly involved in its making was amazing to see, and the fact that this is both a single and multiplayer experience, well, that's left us screaming for more. Now, if you want to see every game featured on the show, you can head to the FGS Steam page, and when you do so, you can send that Add to Wishlist button into oblivion as you add all these fantastic titles to your lineup. Now back to Nathan on the Gamescom show floor, who's, what are you up to there, dude?
I'm about to head in there to get a hands-on demo with LEGO Voyagers and have a chat with the team behind it, so I tell you what, why don't you come with me?
Hi, my name is Carsten Lund. I'm working on LEGO Voyagers at Lightbrick Studios. I was the creative director on the project. We're here at Gamescom, hanging out and showing it to the audience. So if you haven't heard about LEGO Voyagers, it's a co-op game. It's a puzzle platformer, and it's about being a LEGO brick, which means that you get to play as a brick, tumble around in the environment, connect to studs wherever they're available, picking up other bricks and building with the bricks. So it's a very unique take on how you play with Lego actually in a digital sense. So getting this close to launch is super exciting. I'm so glad to have the audience actually try and play this game, and watching them having fun, laughing and stuff is just a great feeling. We can't wait to show it to everyone and get it out there in the wild. What we are showing at this Gamescom Fun for Players is the introduction to the game and the sort of tutorials and stuff, and I can't wait to get them to actually play further in, where we start twisting the gameplay a little bit and give more interesting puzzles and stuff, and then narrative as well, right? There's gonna be a story about these two friends. They're just bricks hanging out, you know, and having fun and being friends, and they really want to become astronauts, which a lot of bricks actually dream about being astronauts. Yeah, so if you love playing co-op games with a friend or with a parent or with a child, this game is totally for you. And if you love playing with bricks, just like you remember it as a kid, on the floor, placing them, this game is definitely also a thing to try. So LEGO Voyagers coming out September 15th on all consoles and PC. And if you have a friend and you already bought the game, the friend can download the Friends Pass, so you get to play with only one copy. So go on wishlist now, and can't wait for you guys to play.
Thank you very much to the developers over at LEGO Voyagers for that lovely chat. Up next, Amy has played Hollow Knight Silksong, and she is absolutely positively desperate to tell you everything about it.
I'm acutely aware that a lot of people would sell their nan to play Hollow Knight Silksong, and so I've memorised every microscopic inch of what I played at the Xbox booth to spill the tea, or rather the juicy bug guts on what you can expect. First of all, we don't have exact B-roll for the demo I played, so everything you're seeing here is a combination of existing footage designed to illustrate my experience as accurately as we can. The demo was divided into 2 sections. The first was the Moss Grotto, a presumably early game location filled with lush vegetation and creeping vines that felt similar in vibe to Green Path in the original game. The enemies I found here were mostly crawling grubs and flying insects that aggressively descended on me like ballsy wasps at a picnic. The first boss I discovered, the Moss Mother, was a slightly larger version of these airborne pests, and didn't give me too much trouble at all. At this early juncture, the platforming trials are also welcomingly simple, but one thing I did notice when leaping about is how much more agile Hornet feels in comparison to the Knight. She can grab onto ledges too, which feels like an inverted trustful because your brain wants to be like, I can't make that jump. You can, bro, she's got this. Her bind ability uses her threads to heal, and it charges with hits similarly to the first game. In terms of combat, she's equally as nimble, and you can get those needle attacks in there with absolute precision. Sticking them with the pointy end has never felt so graceful, like it's all one big sharp ballet. And if you played the original, you'll remember that Hornet is a pretty tough boss fight, so it does feel oddly empowering to be stepping into the tiny wee boots of something that previously handed your ass to you. My confidence didn't fare as well in the second area though, the Deep Docks. This is a kind of steampunky, giant mechanical furnace that you descend into, smashing switches, finding keys to release the mechanisms and gates, and getting totally lost in true Metroidvania fashion. Where is the flippin' cartographer? I met the Forge daughter, whose name implies she might be able to do some weapon upgrades later in the game. The enemies here were better armoured and required a little more thought to dispatch. And at one point I got locked in a frightening liminal space with a barrage of them appearing in waves. And then I encountered Lace. This is going to be really hard, Tom. I can feel it. Suddenly, Hornet didn't feel quite as OP, and you're suddenly reminded that the game is in charge here, not you. Lace was lightning fast, with one particular combo that felt like a 2D version of Melania's dreaded waterfowl dance from Elden Ring. I had a couple of goes and felt like I'd bench pressed enough muscle memory to definitely have her on my third go, but you know, there were a lot of people queuing and I didn't want to be that guy. You know, you can't hog the most wishlisted game on Steam right now, can you? That's a proper jerk move. I'm just being considerate, yeah. Anyway, Team Cherry's engrossing Metroidvania experience has got its little insectoid pincers in me once again, and I can't wait to dive back in.
That was Silksong, and obviously it looks utterly amazing, and you don't even have to wait that long to play it for yourselves because it's out in just 2 weeks. Up next, we're going over to Active Matter to get the lowdown on this upcoming first-person shooter.
What up, everybody? Hi
everyone, my name is Sebastian Thomas, and I'm one of the lead community managers of Active Matter. Picture this, you're a lone operative sifting through the ruins of a world that was shattered by a quantum catastrophe. Mind-bending anomalies with twisted gravity and space topology right before your very eyes. Dozens of players equipped with authentic modern weapons and military gear will clash over the sources of the substance that is known as active matter. The creatures you'll face have also been utterly consumed by the same substance. They can now dash, they can explode, they can fly, they can crawl. They can do all sorts of things, even wait for your lapse in judgment by standing still. Even your fellow operatives, though, aren't safe, because overexposure to that same substance can turn them into the very monsters that you're hunting. Active matter is set in a world that bends the laws of physics, but maintains the laws of ballistics. You'll wield real-world weapons, tactics, and gear, but apply them in places where gravity flips sideways, where bushes don't always stay still, and where enemies from other timelines will lurk inside the abandoned secret laboratories you'll find in your raids. My favorite part about active matter would have to be the ability to hard flank the enemy. And I'm not just talking about ordinary, typical, or standard flanking as you might expect. No. I'm talking about using strategies you simply don't see in other games. A new definition of flanking is created by active matter. No, the enemies are not just around the corner or popping out from behind you as standard flanking might imply. They're clutching on the side of the wall like a spider, or upside down on the ceiling, or tilted at some crazy 45-degree angle to get the perfect, but normally impossible, sightline on you. Experiments with the gravity anomalies, portals, and so much more you'll find to get to these hard-to-reach areas like the underside of a damn floating cargo ship. You can make it so you have a shot anywhere they try to hide, and they would never see it coming. It's multi-dimensional combat at its finest. Active Matter is set in a shattered multiverse, where different timelines and parallel worlds are actually a core part of the gameplay and the story here. You'll see exactly what I mean when you try out the game for yourself. Go it alone or squad up. Play PvP, PvE, or even PvPvE game modes. Active Matter is a hardcore military shooter designed to challenge you, and also leave you craving a lot more, as it has done with me. Active Matter is already available for pre-order on PC for the closed version, which will be released on September 9th. This closed version is only available via the Gaijin store, but the Steam and console versions of the game will arrive in 2026. You can add the game to your Steam wishlist and wait, or purchase one of the editions and play earlier via the Gaijin store.
Look, I can't lie to you, being at Gamescom is maybe the highlight of my life. Even better than that time I won the Nobel Peace Prize. But I want you to feel like you've been to Gamescom, but without all the bad stuff, you know, without the feeling of shame and paying $6 for a Diet Coke. I just want you to experience the best of the best. So that's what this is. I, Nathan Byrne, your humble presenter, have gone around all of Gamescom slapping stickers on the stuff that is the best. This is the best of Gamescom.
That's for you, for one of the best things. Okay, cool. Thank you very much. You are welcome. No worries. Right here, Josh, get in on the head. And I'd love to give the Baby Yoda one. You can't put it on the armour because it will take the paint off. So you're just holding it. Thanks so much.
How many people do you think kept the stickers and how many do you think threw them away the second year?
Oh, I think everyone immediately threw them away. Best of. Well done, Batman. The most realistically rendered nose I've ever seen, so I give that best of. What a game. What a game. Can't be Metal Gear Solid 3. It's the best.
Do you hear me, Snake?
You come at Gamescom, you want to see a piece of machinery that can plough a field in 0 to 60 seconds. This bad boy's doing it. I'm gonna give all of these to Batman. No, I'm giving all of them to Batman, Josh.
We only have a certain amount.
Look, did you watch Jeff's show? Batman was amazing.
It was easily the best thing in the show.
You can't stop. I'm gonna give all of them to the big Batman. Batman! For some reason, SpongeBob's nose doesn't have the award on it anymore, so we're going back in. His nose. Boom, best nose at Gamescom. Well done, SpongeBob. Great job. Best of Gamescom. Best face hugger of Gamescom. Well done.
Okay, so to give you a bit of context here, myself and Josh from the FGS team queued for roughly 10 minutes to get into this Stranger Things haunted house experience. So we get in and it's spooky and there's a big Demogorgon and then... That
So funny. Best carriage of Gamescom. Yeah, get this on there. Best of. So everyone knows. Everyone knows. Best of Gamescom. Servant of the Light. Look at this. Thank you so much. This is actually how I'm getting home. They're sending me back to Scotland in this, so. Do we press go? How do we move this? I've got to get back to Scotland like ASAP. I've got a dentist appointment, so if we could get moving, that would be great.
There you have it, the best of Gamescom. So hopefully you feel like you've been now and you didn't even have to wait 20 minutes to use a toilet. Lucky you. Next up, we've got something very special, an interview with the team behind Final Fantasy Tactics, the Ivalice Chronicles. Enjoy that.
Did my eyes deceive me?
My name is Maihiro, and I am the director on the Ivalice Chronicles. And then this is Yokoyama-san. She is the co-director of the title. So in the original version, there was a coaching element. So when I played the original version and I experimented with coaching, I felt it was kind of a bit of a hard to understand mechanic. And so after playing through it and feeling this way, I talked to my hero here about that, and I mentioned that to him, and he said, well, why don't you just adjust the feature so it's easier for you to understand? So I went ahead and I put a lot of work into fine-tuning this and making it something that is probably more easy to understand overall.
What do you think makes you so special? Birth, blood. We fight to end the aristocracy, not to become it.
So we've done quite a bit of fine-tuning to the different stats of the characters. And of course, from the original version, we had Final Fantasy VII's Cloud appear as a guest character, and he will be making his return as well. And some people might remember that Cloud was a little hard to use and utilize within your party, but we have made some different tweaks that do improve upon that. And in order to use his special limit abilities, you needed a specific sword. But luckily for the Ivalice Chronicles, when Cloud joins your party, he already has the sword. So I hope that everyone will play and go and discover what is where the original sword was.
There is a dangerous individual aboard. I have to stop him first.
Star Trek Infection is not just a VR game, but it's also something we haven't really seen before. A survival horror set in the Star Trek universe. You play as a Vulcan Starfleet officer sent on a mission aboard the USS Lumen, but something has gone horribly wrong. There's no crew in sight and an unknown entity has infested the ship. Now it's inside your body, physically mutating you and unlocking dangerous new abilities at the cost of your sanity.
Starfleet intelligence was right. There's a traitor on board. Maybe there's still a chance to save this ship.
To be fair though, I mean, if I could shoot tendrils out of my hands and zip about like an intergalactic Spider-Man, I'd happily trade my sanity. It wasn't really doing anything for me anyway. There's a whole load of stuff here that Star Trek fans are going to love. You can Vulcan nerve pinch your enemies like an evil masseuse and set your phasers to stun or kill, whichever takes your fancy. Star Trek Infection is coming to Quest 3 later this year, with a Steam version to follow soon after. So if you've always dreamed of combining horror, VR and Star Trek, then you can make it so. Did that reference make sense? I hope that made sense.
Up next, we're going to speak to the developers over at Reanimal about their visceral-looking title.
I'm Dave Mervick, I'm the narrative director at Sarsha Studios. We're here at Gamescom showing off our demo for Reanimal. Reanimal is about a group of 5 orphans, and you play as 2 of them, these siblings, whose job it is really to get around by boat and on land from the different areas of what was once a nice place, tracking down your old friends, rescuing them, and obviously avoiding the unpleasantries along the way. At the core of this whole world and during their backstory is a violence, and violence really is seeping through the pores of this game in the music, in the way that we illustrate the world, and in the things the kids face. And bit by bit, as you rescue each of your friends, you build up a picture of what it is that's gone on between these kids and why they need to get back together again. These children are actually older than the characters that in our previous games, in Little Nightmares, for example. But there's a balance that we like, because we like to create these quite unpleasant worlds, and Reanimal is a much darker tale. But when you drop kids into the center of this, into a world that doesn't like them very much, there's a nice kind of juxtaposition there. When you've got these kids facing darker themes, then maybe that pushes it a bit too hard, but now we've got multiplayer, then that brings the needle back to that sweet spot that we like to strike without being too charming this time around. What we've got in the Gamescom demo is from a very early part of the game. It's not from the very beginning, but you've just landed your boat on the shore of this first main location outside a big industrial mill, and your job really is to go towards the danger and try and find your friend, and then make it out past the first main monster of this area that you encounter, called Sniffer. Reanimal for us is the next evolution of our studio. We want people to recognize, what the kind of games that we like to make. We're trying new things, that we're bringing them at a darker world, that they get to play together at last. The camera as well, we've done so much work on the camera so that players feel scared together. It's been one of our guiding lights since the very beginning of the project. The Gamescom demo and the full game of Reanimal is fully playable in single player, couch co-op and online co-op. Reanimal's coming Q1 2026 to PC, PlayStation 5, Xbox and Switch 2, so wishlist now.
Oh yes, my friends. Yes, yes, yes. It's time. Now, I have been banging on for years about how much I love the escalators here at Gamescom. No, you have weird hobbies. In fact, I love them so much that I've wrangled together a ton of developers to take part in an interview with a twist. And that twist is that you only have the time it takes to ride one of these escalators here at Gamescom 2025 to tell me everything about your game. This is Escalator Pitch. I'm here with Luigi, who's going to tell you everything you need to know about By Sweet Carol. Let's go.
So By Sweet Carol is a 2D animated game, completely made by hand, and the game is about Lana Benton looking for her best friend Carol and discovering what happened to her. But in the meantime, Mr. Kin, the villain of the story, is gonna chase her and hunt her down. So it's up to the player to discover what happened.
And when is it out?
Soon.
Oh, that's been Escalator Pitch. Here with Sarah is going to tell you everything you need to know about Star Trek Voyager Across the Unknown. Let's go.
So, have you ever wanted to kill Harry Kim?
Yes.
Now's your chance. So, in our new game, you can slip into the role of Catherine Janeway.
Okay.
And manage Voyager and its crew yourself. And you can make different decisions than she made back then.
So you can reshape the story of Voyager?
Yes, you can.
Amazing.
Yeah, and it will be out on console and PC soon.
That's
Wish list it now.
I'm here with Saffron, who's going to tell you everything you need to know about Cappy Castaway.
Cappy Castaway is an adorable capybara adventure game where you play as a capybara and a crow that have been washed away to a mysterious island after a flood. There are lots of mysterious animals that you can meet, and you can make soup in our new demo. You can wish list it right now on Steam, and it's coming out in 2026.
I hope you won't mind me saying, that sounds super. But that has also been Escalator Pitch. Yes, I said it. I'm here with David, who's going to tell you everything you need to know about Silica. Let's go.
Silica is a sci-fi game where we are combining two genres together, real-time strategy and first-person action shooter. You fight over the planet of Baltarus against aliens or against humans if you are an alien.
Ooh, amazing stuff. And when can people expect to play it?
Well, they can already play it. It's out in early access and you can check it out on Steam.
Perfect. That's been Escalator Pitch. I'm here with Thibaut, who's going to tell you everything you need to know about Eversiege. Let's go.
So in Eversiege, you play this badass armor to liberate Bastion, and for that we mix together well-known genres, the level action of MOBA, the management of RTS, and the replayability of roguelites.
That sounds amazing. And when can people get their hands on it?
We should be in early access end of this year.
Amazing stuff. That has been Escalator Pitch. I'm here with Luke, who's going to tell you everything you need to know about World of Tanks Heat. Let's go, baby.
World of Tanks Heat is hero shooter meets tank action. You select your agent, customize your tank, and then take it to fast-paced 10v10 battles in familiar game modes like Domination, Conquest, or Kill Confirmed. Wishlist us now and get ready for a World of Tanks you've never seen before.
That sounds amazing, and that, my friends, has been Escalator Pitch.
I'm here with Luca, who's going to tell you everything you need to know about Bloodgrounds. Let's go!
Bloodgrounds is a gladiator turn-based tactical game. It has city management and team management. It's based on the Heroes of Might and Magic and all the great strategy games.
Amazing.
Yeah, it's set in a Roman Empire with a fantasy twist, and please play the demo and wishlist, yeah.
And it's out this year. That was Escalator Pitch.
I'm here with Mac, who's going to tell you everything you need to know about Last Flag. Let's go!
Last Flag is the first ever real capture the flag shooter where you can hide the flag anywhere on the map with your team of 5, find the enemy flag, bring it back to your home base, defend it for 1 minute to win it, all while capturing radar towers to help you by eliminating search areas on the map.
Amazing.
And you can play it free next week on Steam. Last Flag.
That's been Escalator Pitch.
I'm here with Eric, who's going to tell you everything you need to know about Coins, Crowns, and Cabal. Let's go!
I'm Eric from Magni Games. We're making Coins, Crown, and Cabal. It's an economic, political, and trading online simulation, and you take on the role of a simple merchant as you turn a rundown settlement into a thriving medieval empire.
Oh, that sounds amazing. And when is the game out?
It's out next year, and put it on your wish list.
Amazing stuff. That has been Escalator Pitch.
I'm here with Kurt, who's going to tell you everything you need to know about Stormforged. Go!
So, Stormforge is an open-world survival crafting game, and you can imagine it as basically take some French graphic novel, take some anime like Miyazaki, put that together with magical storms that are based on real-world tornadoes, just ripping stuff up, throwing it around, and then mix that together and make it really, really easy to mod.
Ooh, and when's Stormforge coming out?
It's coming out in early 2026.
And that was Escalator Pitch.
What's up, everyone? I'm Raphael.
This is Andre.
And we're here to tell you all you need to know about Nine Kings, a game where you have 9 tiles,
99 cards,
999 troops,
9,999 ways to break the game.
And if you buy the game right now, you can help us get to 999,999 copies. If you do that today, we're gonna be eternally grateful. Please take a shot.
Guys, I told you, as good as your game is, you can't steal my microphones.
I'm very sorry.
And that was Escalator Pitch.
Oh, my kingdom for a set of motorised mechanical stairs. One day, my sweet. Well, while I ride this beauty up to heaven itself, why don't you check out this developer interview with the makers of Anno 117 Pax Romana.
So my name is Stefan Jankowski. I'm the executive producer on Anno 117 Pax Romana that we are demoing here at Gamescom. Anno is a franchise that has been running more than 25 years. We are the premier strategy builder game. So it's a game where basically you are developing your city, your empire, your network of connections and tradings, and to become the most impressive empire inside of the world. And with Anno 117 Pax Romana, we are visiting for the first time ancient Rome. Players seems to love it so far. We are super happy. It's a wonderful experience. That's the moment where you connect with your players, and this, as a game maker, this is something that you want to live, basically. So in Anno 117 Pax Romana, for the first time in the series, you will be able to choose the province where you start. So the starting points can be very different. You can start in Latium, so a place inspired by ancient Rome. You can think about a lavender field and a very nice area, something lovely. Or you can go to something a bit more hard, like the Celtic worlds called Albion. So you can imagine a very mystic, rainy. So it's going to be a very different mood. And you will start from the get-go where you want to start your province. Also, for the first time, we're going to be releasing on console at launch. So you're going to be on PC, Xbox, and PlayStation. So it's going to be something also fresh for newcomers. So what we are bringing here at Gamescom for the first time is Albion. That's the new part of the world inside of Anno 117 Pax Romana, inspired by the Celtic world. So you can imagine this misty, very rainy area where you will discover this new province, their inhabitants and their culture, everything that is unique to them, and how you will have to expand your power inside of that region is going to be up to you as a governor to see how to develop the Roman Empire in this crazy alien world. So we are super excited to be at Gamescom and for the players to play the game for the first time, but we know not everybody can come to the Gamescom event, so we have a little surprise for them. Starting September the 2nd, on PC, you will be able to download the demo and play for the comfort of your home. It's going to be a limited time demo, so don't wait too long for that, and you will be able to discover our new world for Anno. Anno 117 Pax Romana is releasing on November the 13th this year, 2025, on PC, PS5, and Xbox. You can also wishlist, of course. You can pre-order. It's even better for us, of course. But don't wait, because it's gonna come very soon, and we are super eager to see you in the game.
Just look at this booth, and a huge thank you to the developers of Anno 117 Pax Romana for that wonderful interview. Up next, I had some hands-on time with Cinder City, and here are my thoughts.
So we managed to play a new game called Cinder City, which you might have seen under the previous game name of Project LLL. It's an MMO tactical shooter where post-apocalyptic Seoul is crawling with zombies and mechs. It's kind of like Call of Duty Zombies meets The Division. You're a father on a mission to find your daughter, and you can do this alone and go full Metal Gear Dad by slapping on a camo suit, turning invisible and sneaking past enemies like the world's most heavily armed chameleon, or you can squad up with up to 3 other players who will definitely not run straight into enemy fire while you're stealthing. So if that fails, then why not hijack a mech? Because, well, nothing says parental determination like stealing a walking tank or shooting rocket launchers from a bloody helicopter. Oh, and this world isn't just pretty, it is reactive. Procedurally generated content changes based on your situation, meaning no 2 firefights play out exactly the same. And while there are nicely designed zombies to fight, who, by the way, make the most unnerving sounds, there is also whatever the fresh hell this thing is. I don't know its name, I don't want to know its name, but it's giving off big Rat King vibes from The Last of Us, so I'm just going to call him Arm King. Oh, and one last thing to remember, young Padawan, while you can pilot the mechs, there's always going to be a bigger mech. Cinder City drops in 2026 for PC and console, so get ready to save your daughter, save the world, and possibly punch a mech right in the face.
If that wasn't enough action for you, we've got a developer interview with the minds behind Phantom Blade Zero.
Phantom Blade Zero is an action RPG, something in between a Souls game and Roller Skater or Witcher. But it's like a playable Kung Fu movie, so all the movements are motion captured by real Kung Fu masters. So it's a fantasy world, but it's not like an average Souls game. Many people will mistaken us for a Souls game, but we have very clear narrative and very clear navigation on the map. But it's not linear, it's semi-open. The smaller scale ARPG. Like one is a Souls game, the other is the hack and slash Devil May Cry or Ninja Gaiden game, but with very high speed, fast paced combat, because we all love different ways to fight and different slower or faster. Just like you play in Call of Duty or Battlefield, there are tons of guns you can choose from, right? So you can feel different range and different fighting style with different guns. So that we call it like gun porn or something. Yeah, we would call our game blade porn. We have 30 main weapons and more than 20 secondary weapons. You can pick 2 primary weapons and 2 secondary weapons, so all these 4 combined together to build a set. Soft Snake Sword is my current favorite. In the surface, you feel this is not a very powerful weapon because compared to those huge blades, but actually it's the hardest, yeah, if you use it in the right way, and it's very elegant. We guide people to explore the map by story. Story is always most important. There are many accessible ways to navigate people around the map. But nowadays, because Souls genre is very influential, it's super complicated, no directions and everything, we even have a hand-drawn map that will guide you to the next port. Because our point is to tell a story, to build an original world. We don't have like quests like help the old nannies to find a cat or unclog the toilet or something like that. Because sometimes we feel modern games, if you pack the game with side quests, maybe 80% of the quests are not something this hero should do.
I poisoned myself, and death will claim me long before I transform into one of those things.
There will be some challenge mode. You can fight the boss you have already defeated, but you can also forbid some of your weapons, ban some of your gears and spend some of your accessories. The best scenario will be with only one sword to fight the boss. Yeah, Phantom Blade Zero is a new game you'll never see before. So you're welcome to follow our social medias like X, TikTok, and Instagram and YouTube. First day will be on Steam, Epic Game, and PlayStation 5 and 5 Pro. In a normal PlayStation 5, we are targeting 2K on 60 FPS. And for those who has a great PC and also for PlayStation 5 Pro, we have some advanced graphic effect. So stay tuned to our game and keep your eye on us. We will announce the releasing date this year within 2025.
That was Phantom Blade Zero. Up next, we're off to the wild world of PVKK, where the devs have something very special to show us.
Imagine for a second that they made a glossy, high-budget Space Invaders remake, and instead of fighting back alien hordes with one button that goes pew pew pew, you instead had all of these buttons. This is PVKK, where you manually control a massive cannon to fend off an ongoing interplanetary invasion. So it's up to you to manage energy generators, scan the skies for alien vessels, calculate fire trajectories, and then execute precise firing procedures to shoot your enemies out of the sky and keep planet Earth safe and sound. But between the invasions, you of course need to find some time to explore your bunker for secrets and maybe even have a cup of tea. It's called self-care, guys. Try it sometime. Now, in the version you play, those will all be virtual buttons and levers, but because I'm a certified pro gamer who owns 3 copies of Gitaroo Man, I got to play the PVKK demo on this. A real-life recreation of the missile control desk that I could touch with every single one of my disgusting digits. What a demo it was, though. There's genuinely nothing better than a big mad game with a big mad controller made specifically for that big mad game. I was spinning steering wheels, cranking levers, flipping switches, and smashing that launch control harder than a YouTube like button. And I don't want to brag and say that I was like the best at it or amazing or anything, but I did get a literal medal at the end of the demo, which, you know, I feel speaks for itself.
I'd like to thank my parents. I'd like to thank my man here. Thanks so much.
Now, there's no denying that the version of PVKK you play at home is going to be very different to the experience I had, but I've got no doubt that that core gameplay loop of targeting, calibrating, and then shooting your enemies out of the sky is going to be just as addictive as the time I spent with it here at Gamescom. No release date for PVKK yet, but it'll be coming soon to Steam, so keep an eye on your radar and be ready to shoot this one out of the sky. And by shoot it out of the sky, I mean buy it, obviously.
Your codename for this mission will be Naked Snake. I'll be referring to you as Snake from now on.
I am here with the marvellous Rosie Caddick from PlayStation Access. Hi, buddy.
Hi, buddy.
We've both played Metal Gear Solid Delta Snake Eater today. What are your thoughts? Because full disclosure, I've never played the original. Never played the OG. I know.
Oh, I loved it. Like literally, as soon as I went in there, seeing all of like the graphics being like updated.
Oh my god, the graphics.
Yeah,
you could see the fibers on clothing.
I couldn't stop looking at when he put like his camouflage makeup on his face.
Yes.
I couldn't stop looking at the makeup on his face.
The texture of it.
Like crackled and stuff a little bit.
It's wild.
As you know, makeup or mud, I don't really know how it works.
Speak.
One thing I was really excited also to see was how they were going to do the new codec calls. And of course, with the new character models, I thought it looked really great. You can like flick between perspectives of the characters. Like, you know, when they start off with their face like forward but slightly looking down, and then they can have like to the side.
Side profile.
So literally, every time a new character popped up, I of course went through. I
Every
kind of reached a
single
point.
mugshot.
Yeah. Did you hold R1 to see the first person perspective in cutscenes?
did. Yes, I did.
Done.
Is
an
that
iconic
new?
thing. No, so that is original as well.
Oh, nice.
So
cool.
already, it's kind of like a bit of an iconic thing that when you see it, you're like, oh, like always look for the corner just to see like what the first person perspective looks like.
Yeah.
So when it did pop up again, of course, I was like, oh, it's back. I've got to see what it looks like in these new updated graphics.
Listen up, Jack. Your mission is to infiltrate Selino-Yarsk in the Soviet mountains, ensure the safety of Sokolov, and bring it back to the west.
I died a fair bit going in. I was messing around with all kinds of stuff. I got killed by a crocodile a few times, or like an alligator in the mud bit, because you have to like wade your way through.
It
and
can be violent.
I did think I could stab it with a knife, which is kind of on me.
Yeah, that's on you.
Yeah, because they were on about how you should make sure that you feed yourself, right? Otherwise your stamina's going to go down, and you've got to hunt wildlife. And I was like,
there's like snakes.
There's
in the
wildlife.
grass.
There is, yeah, because he is a snake eater. Haha.
And I was like, oh, snake in the grass or crocodile in the mud.
Imagine the meat.
Smart.
Imagine the meat on it. That was what I was thinking. That's going to keep me fed for days.
I really liked how the camouflage bar is now at the bottom.
Oh, okay.
Which
I wonder why that changed.
Yeah, so literally, usually it used to be on the top right, but I just saw it pop up in like the center middle of the gameplay, and I was like, oh. But it's kind of like worked for me because since you're running around, Snake is in the middle pretty much of the screen, so it's like kind of all in one nice compact space.
Yeah, subtle UI updates, a brilliantly big graphic update, but more importantly, just it feels like it's an iconic game that hasn't lost that iconic flavor and that silliness. So yeah, this is the perspective from someone who's pretty much a noob and someone who's played the OG. So what more could you ask for? Thank you so much, Rosie, for joining me today on the Future Game Show. It's lovely to see you as always.
I've had a lovely time.
I'm so glad. I'm so glad.
Up next, we're grinding, sliding, and choosing a path of violence because this is Denture Attack.
I'm Angel Beltran. I'm the producer and tech designer for Undercoders, and we are showing Dense Attack here at Gamescom. Dense Attack in a nutshell is Tony Hawk but with Japanese trains. So you can imagine driving a train, doing these crazy tricks in a Jet Set Radio style art. It's a future version of Japan where there's been a climate disaster and everyone has to live now in these dome cities where air is purified. So basically all the rich people got there, but the rest got left behind outside these dome cities. All the infrastructure of the train railways have been abandoned. So some gangs have taken over them and invented this crazy sport called Dense Attack. In the story, you drive through Japan meeting all these gangs in a shonen-style adventure. There are some friends, some rivalries, a bit of both with the same characters and stuff like that. Your main objective at the beginning is trying to beat the fastest train in existence, but from there are some nice surprises. So for the core gameplay, we have two layers. The first layer is just the basic driving, as we call it. So you have to move with your train through Japan, going as fast as possible and get it to the end station on time. And on top of that, we have all these stylish layers. So you have to make tricks. Some of them are based on extreme sports games like kick flips, wall rides, greens, and all that. And then we have some more unique train tricks such as double drifting, rail switching, also crazy stuff you've seen in the trailer like driving a Ferris wheel. So the reference, of course, in terms of gameplay, there's Tony Hawk, Jet Set Radio. Those are the games that, for us, define how a trick-based game has to be. It's also Hi-Fi Rush, Persona 5. And outside games, we also took inspiration from anime, of course, manga like Initial D. Yeah, and also even for the music, we think it's something really important, and we are super happy to be working with T. Lopez for that. So the game is basically a single-player experience. I think what we tried with Dense Attack since the beginning is to keep that surprise factor. When you first see a train tweaking and jumping and doing all this crazy stuff, but we really wanted these surprises to keep coming, so each level has to feel fresh and surprising. So you start with a train doing tricks, but then you get the Ferris wheel, you get the boss fights that you can see in the trailer, and we just want all this adventure to always keep being as fresh as possible. Dense Attack is coming to PS5, Xbox Series, and PC next year, 2026, and if you enjoyed the trailer and the game, please visit it.
Up next, it is time to rock and roll all over the forces and faces of evil because now it's time for my jam. Coming up next, we're about to take on the forces of the sludge god themselves. Awesome name, by the way, because this is a developer interview with the minds behind John Carpenter's Toxic Commando.
My name is Tim Willits. I am the Chief Creative Officer at Saber Interactive. Toxic Commando is a 4-player co-op game where you are part of a squad and you fight thousands and thousands of infected in this containment zone. We quickly realized that a lot of the ideas and the design was inspired by the iconic movies of Carpenter. So we reached out to him. He was super awesome. He's given feedback on story and plot. We have like cool, kick-ass John Carpenter music. He's led us to this personality and this uniqueness and this flavor and vibe that the game has, from the main menu to the story to the action. It has that Carpenter style to it. It was very inspirational. If you are a Carpenter fan, look for things that may represent those movies. When you see things, you're like, oh, that's that movie, or oh, that's that movie. Just keep your eyes open. Before playing Toxic Commando, you gotta watch 4 movies. You gotta watch Escape from New York, The Thing, the original Halloween, and Big Trouble in Little China. You'll get the horror, you'll get the action, and you'll get the over-the-top.
Nobody half-asses it this time. Ruby.
Ugh. So the first time you play Toxic Commando with your gaming buddies, bring up the menu, look around for some spare parts to arm your turrets and your defenses, and make sure you're geared up before you have to fight thousands of infected. If you've loved playing World War Z and Space Marine 2, along with games like Left 4 Dead and Back 4 Blood, then Toxic Commando is the game for you. John Carpenter's Toxic Commando will launch early 26. It'll be on all your favorite platforms, PC, Xbox, and PlayStation. And we have cross-play, so you can play with your friends on whatever platforms they like.
Thank you very much to the devs over at John Carpenter's Toxic Commando for that interview. Up next, we are speaking to the legendary Suda51 about his upcoming project, Romeo is a Dead Man.
You're gonna die in about 15 seconds! Seriously? Seriously, don't worry. I made this just in case. The Dead Gear Life Support System.
I'm Goichi Suda, commonly known as Suda51. I'm the CEO of Grasshopper Manufacturer. On Romeo is a Dead Man, been working as producer and director, scenario writer, and I've also been doing some debugging as well.
From now on, you're Dead Man!
Everybody loves Back to the Future, right? Well, basically what Romeo is a Dead Man is what if in Back to the Future, Marty died at the beginning? What the hell would happen? How would he turn out? What's going to happen to the story, you know? If you want to find out how that would work out, then play Romeo is a Dead Man. What if there was a game where you could time travel to different eras, and there was different zombies in these different time periods, like zombies from 1960s, 1970s, 1980s, and they kind of gradually evolved and have different characteristics and abilities and whatnot. And then I was like, okay, well, what if I just mashed up all these ideas together with Back to the Future and Rick and Morty and time travel and zombies, and yeah, it was pretty difficult to take all these different elements and actually make them fit together. But yeah, we did our best. It's basically sort of a fast-paced action game, like a lot of the games that we've done. And there's a couple things that I'm really looking forward to seeing how players react to. One of them is it's not parry-based combat, it's more dodge-based movement during combat and stuff. I think we did a pretty good job with that. Also, there's, I guess the most understandable way to put it would be basically zombie cultivation. There's not only enemy zombies in the game, they're called rotters, but there's also another type of zombies that are known as bastards, which you grow yourself and in a garden, and they become your pals. And you can sort of equip them and use them as skills, activate them during battle. I think that part in particular, it's something that you're probably not going to find in any other game, and it's pretty interesting and fun to play with, all the different combinations and mechanics. That's something that I'm really looking forward to players checking out and see what they think.
Huh? That was Grandpa's voice. Are you a spirit? I'm on your back.
What?
So, here at Gamescom, we've been meeting with a lot of people from the media, having them play the demo, doing interviews and stuff like this. So far, the response from people who have played the game has been really good. People saying stuff like, this is the best game at Gamescom right now. This is the #1 title here. May even exist somewhere, as far as I know. But I think it's doing pretty good. Once you start reading the articles and watching the videos that are going to be coming out of this trip here to Gamescom, you'll get a pretty good idea of what kind of game it is, what to expect. So yeah, look forward to it. It's going to be an awesome game. So Romeo's a Dead Man will be coming out next year, probably. And it'll be coming out on PlayStation, Xbox, Steam. We're hoping to get it on Switch too. It's not definite yet. We're still working on it. But yeah, also we're not sure if it's going to be coming out before GTA 6 or after GTA 6, or we might just go all in and release it on the same day. We're not sure yet.
Thank you very much to Suda51 for that amazing developer interview. Up next, we're off to the world of Dying Light: The Beast, where we also spoke to the devs about what makes this latest installment so utterly chaotic.
I'm Nathan Lemaire, I'm the game director for Dying Light: The Beast. In Dying Light: The Beast, we are playing as Kyle Crane, the returning hero from the first Dying Light. He was actually being held captive for 13 years and he was being experimented on. So when he escapes, basically he's just seeking revenge against the people that are actually used him as a test subject. What was important for us at the beginning for Dying Light: The Beast is that we took the best from Dying Light 1, the best from Dying Light 2, and we put it together to create this kind of best experience possible. So you will get back with a parkour that is more grounded, more physical, more closer to Dying Light 1 feeling. Same is for the physicality and the hit reaction on zombies. We wanted to make a step forward and to make sure that hitting zombies just feels fun and kinda diverse. There is no situation that is the same. It's always kinda renewing itself because of the physics and the ragdolls and so on. There is also the fact that we wanted to create new settings. With Castor Woods, we have created this unique kinda touristic station located in the Swiss Alps. It's a beautiful zombie apocalypse, I can say, because this is where people would go to vacations before the fall happened. A very good setting as well because it's very diverse, I would say. You have a city, you have industrial park, and some other biomes that make the game always kinda renewing itself. I'm super excited for people to test our new weapons, such as the flamethrower or saw blade launcher. We did put a lot of effort into making this game a very satisfying, visually satisfying zombie game and slashing zombie apocalypse. The Beast mode is one of our, new feature. It features a complete new skill tree, and it's really an ability that grows over time with Kyle. It's also a central part of the story itself. And with the Beast mode, we wanted to have this kind of very unleashing power where suddenly you are not a prey at all. You are an ultimate predator. You can basically smash zombies, tear them apart completely, use your ability to jump higher, run faster, and it's really the ultimate kind of ability for Kyle Crane. So Dying Light: The Beast is coming out September 19th on PS5, Xbox One X, and PC.
And there we have it, my friends. That was the Future Games Show Best of Gamescom. Have you enjoyed it?
We'd like to take a moment to formally apologise to your wallet, but to be fair, it's not our fault all those games look so good.
No, absolutely. Don't come for us. If you want to wishlist any of the games in this show or any of our shows, go to the Future Games Show Steam page.
But until then, take care of yourselves and we'll see you soon. Bye!
Can I go play Lego Batman then?
Yeah, go on then. Go on, off you go.
Be safe. Be nice to the other kids.
He slipped. Oh, he's crying.
Oh, God's sakes. You got plaster?
Go on, let's go. Let's go, Evan.
It's a big match, and only the best will win.
Just blaze. Godzilla bankroll, stole some silly on. Yo, I ain't got it all. That means I'm barely on.
All right, ciao. Thanks for watching.